the show where you decide what we talk about every day. Neil and Sean, they're locked, they're loaded. They're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. So join Adara and I on How to Trade Midday Show and get into the chat. Subscribe, because that's the only way you can comment in the chat and vote for your favorite takers every day. It has been a very red day on these here markets. You can see that with the SPY denoted there, almost at lows. Likewise with the triple Qs. Look, it's been a story of which indice has performed the best. Right now, it is the Dow faring the best, second with the ES, the third with the NASDAQ, and the Russell really taking it on the chin, almost down 3% today. So that questioning that rotation trade that we've been watching all summer. We'll start off with the first ticker as decided by you guys, and that is the SPY. We're down, guys, almost 1 2/3% on the SPY.
Dun, dun. Yeah, so the market, what am I hearing in my ear? Okay, the market is obviously headed to the downside. I got something weird, like an echo or something going on. The market is headed to what looks like fresh lows in 5, 4, 3. No, just kidding. No, seriously, it's been all downside trending here on the SPY. We just broke fresh lows of the day. The 555 zone had been support. It's pretty much gonzo. I'm going to leave it up and just throw you into the daily over in this direction so we can get a better sense of ye rollover. This has been essentially the support at the top end of the range for the last 2 weeks now, which we're losing now. So I think there's room to the downside here. When you go to fresh highs, you've essentially rejected the top on the SPY, or at least that's what we're doing today. We're rejecting the top on the SPY. We're bringing it on down to Plummetville. Bring it on down to Plummetville. I love those sketches. Specifically, this is one of those rallies, moves down. Whoops, BABA just broke the low. Okay, BABA did a flat bottom break, whatever. But NASDAQ, ES, all down. Apple just got to key support at 223. So it's getting nasty down here. Nvidia just got to 109. Pretty much everything, and if you look at what was holding things up this morning, like this is Meta. Like Meta was holding things up. It was strong. Now we're down 1.5 points here. So when you lose that support, you almost got to separate, okay, well, as we're breaking lows on the ES, what is not bleeding at the low of the day? Meta's kind of not the worst stock in the world. It's holding up a little bit. I look over at Microsoft, which is busting its low. So there's very different looks here, like Meta not breaking lows, Apple's breaking lows with Microsoft and with the overall market. So if we do catch a bounce, Meta doesn't look as bad as some of the other names. But only because we're not going to talk about this, Alibaba just now, when the market made that move, opening range bottom, Alibaba kind of just broke that flat bottom here. I'm going to give this trade to 82.35-ish, and we'll look to see if this is going to go down with everything else. Bit of a flat bottom break on BABA, but the markets just took out our range bottom on the SPY when you look at that daily chart. Yuck.
It's just so hilarious because when we started, yeah, we're good to go. When we started the day, we were like, we have no long ideas. We were all short. And yet I just look over and like everything's been long. We talked about fighting the trend and all that kind of stuff. And it just continues to happen one more time. And here it comes. Nvidia breaks 119. I mean, what is the kind of size that's there to begin with? It's not even that big. A couple 100,000 shares. It's already done 300 million shares. So this is going to break. We're long at 40s. I mean, all we do is keep taking shots here. And like I said, if we had just gone short at 40, we could have made it all back, right? But we don't continue to do that. We continue to watch out for the long. So there it is right now, 109 and change. Look, we wrote down TQQs, right, to go short, basically if it breaks 66. Well, that came in, man, and now you're down 8% on this level. There's 66 right there. We had defended. Oh, there goes Nvidia. And then eventually it goes boom to the downside. As the market's getting nasty, we said, I don't know the last time we were down 3% ever, other than now. So we're down 3% right now. I mean, I guess that...
If Copilot can't answer that,
that day,
Copilot is...
Yeah, that day on August 5th, I guess we were probably down that much at one point. I wasn't here, but there it goes right there.
Yeah, yeah, obviously that's
yeah. But yeah, a closing day. I don't know. Like this seems pretty easy short here, as none of the pops have lived. So yeah, man, there it goes to the downside. Just keeps on going. We'll talk about Palantir next, I guess. I might have to look at that one. What am I going to do? Go long over there? Probably.
Yeah.
There's no headline today on Palantir, guys, but there was this headline from last Thursday. It looks like Forrester's recognized Palantir as an AI and ML machine learning leader and has invited them to the Forrester Wave, a conference to present and possibly network. It was a good look for them last week. Obviously, they were coming off local highs, but a bit of a tougher day today.
Yeah.
Palantir.
So you know what? When I look back at Palantir,
Nvidia.
there's a trade that usually when the market is trending, you see me like scratching and like sheepishly looking around. There's a trade that usually sets up on a trend down day, which we should all like. Well, we should like. Really, Palantir went to 31. Now, there wasn't a big catalyst on this. So I wasn't really looking at Palantir. That's the excuse. But it goes right into 31 in VWAP. And when you're trend down, afternoon, if you can find something like this, and obviously it's a bit of a mess, the way the stock market has gone. There were stocks that were breaking out. Like this took the lows and then looked like it was breaking out the top. That's a little bit messy. But if you look at the highs from Friday, it essentially rejected the highs and then just trended down. So a VWAP retracement is always a reasonable way to go here. That said, you go to the higher time frame. This is not necessarily the end of the world. Like 30 is a big level that we've recently bounced off here. If this loses 30 or loses the 50 period, then you've broken the uptrend. Actually, you know what? It has to lose a 50 to break the uptrend. Even losing 30 is not the end of the world. So this is adjacent to some stronger names, but I feel as if we're going to test some of these lows if the market decides to keep this up. So it should have been a VWAP retrace, but there was no catalyst on this. That's why I wouldn't have been looking at it over there on Palantir. Down 2.5 points today. If this ends up being another rejection of 31.5, I mean, a retest of 30 makes a lot of sense to me on PLTR now that you've lost Thursday and Friday support levels in here at 30.80. I guess short pops into VWAP if we can even get it at this point.
Yeah, Sharif just came over here and I was like, damn, what's Nvidia doing?
Damn,
yeah, you are
Gina.
right, Sharif. You are down a lot right now on Nvidia. It's still trying to go upside right now. You see that little QR code there on your screen. Make sure you click it because if you're looking to maximize your idle cash for Canadian users, enjoy 6% per annual on cash balance up to $10,000 for 60 days along with 2-month commission free. You can also earn up to $2,300 in cash rewards when you transfer your portfolio. Both rewards can be enjoyed at the same time. With Moomoo, you'll gain access to comprehensive data on stocks, options, and ETFs. Plus, take advantage of algorithmic trading, allowing you to create, backtest, and execute your own strategies. Set up instant alerts to trade on your own signals, helping you take your trading game to the next level. Thanks to Moomoo again for sponsoring this portion of the show. Thanks, Moomoo. I need to set an algo for Nvidia trading and only go short and stop only going long. So right now we are long in Nvidia against that bottom wick. We just had, and it's going to break it now, so it's irrelevant. But I thought that this little bottom wick there was going to be it. We had that hammer candle. We were stopped out once it broke 109, but looks like it's going to take that candle one more time here. This is like kind of the first. I thought we kind of had like a little bit of a wipeout bottom there. We're trying to get back up to the upside. So we'll average into this thing one more time, but it looks like it does want to take it out. Palantir. So this was one that we had early. Thankfully, we got out of it. And, looking back at it, although we're zoomed in a lot there, looking back at Palantir, we absorbed all of this. We avoided, all of this. So we got out. We took it against 31. It broke 31 and we got out. Pretty simple trading, man. We took VWAP. We took the 50 period. When we weren't certain of the market, we had the feeling that the market direction was southbound. I think we talked about that. Every idea here is south other than Tesla. But look at that VWAP. Doesn't get much better than that. Whenever days are trending, and I talked about Nvidia just broke, we got out of Nvidia there. So it broke and snapped back up. But there it goes. Anyways, whenever the market trends down, you have to be careful of that move. So be wary right now of Palantir back up to VWAP. I think if it can get strong, we can break it, but that's an easy test. And if the market's still weak, you got to sort of look out for that. But, pretty strong name, having a beat up day today for sure. Nothing is really avoiding this.
Unless it's the VIX. Like the VIX.
Yeah, the opposite of everything.
Like the VIX.
L, SOX S.
Yeah. What about the banks, though?
You know what? The bank's got that downgrade today. I'm not sure exactly.
Hold on a second. No, I'm just more. It's morbid curiosity.
69.
Yeah, they're down. I just look. JP's down, so I'm going to make the assumption that everything is down. because JP's down and the rest of the banks are going to be down. Let's get on over to, hey, what's that thing in the middle?
Yeah, who's heard of this one, Neil? Yeah, Nvidia. I mean, Sean kind of just explained that whole thing, but we are at lows going into 9% if we're not there already, guys. There was really no headline on Nvidia today, but we saw the weakness off last week's earnings report on Wednesday. It was a bit of a sell the news event. It tried to rally on Friday, had a decent day, much with the overall market. But today, the first day of September, the weakest month of the year, guys, historically.
You know, there was a point
I heard about that.
at like 139 that I got back to green on Nvidia. It was exactly at 139.
Nvidia was the highest stock on the show.
It was like, I don't know, I shorted it 3 times this morning and it was like, no, no, no. Then finally got it. Then was long. It was started bouncing off 110, was able to scalp a little bit out, but eventually it just could not hold on to that level. And this is the reason why the lesson of the day today was what happens when you're looking in a direction and we just scream away from it, like where do you join? And it was more about focus than anything else. Instead of what I usually do, which is find relative strength and relative weakness, went into a couple of things that were relatively strong for longs instead of being more aggressive when you didn't get VWAP retracements or key levels on Nvidia. So when you look at Nvidia, it's not, we were at $90 on the 5th. And obviously when we looked it up, August 5th is the last time the S&P was past 3. I should have asked Copilot outside of the 5th, like when was the previous time? No, but you're so far away from those levels that you could easily fill this gap in here to the 90s, and that's not even batting an eye. It's been down since earnings on Nvidia pretty much every single day, and we haven't really found a bottom. 100's a good psychological level. Where we are at 108, if you look at it on the daily, like that was kind of a key resistance, which could, in theory, turn into support. We'll see if it can find some kind of a bottom today. I did like AMD for shorts. I had another like curl move, and I was sitting on the bid at 140.5 when like the big hammer candle came down. This is down 7 points. The chips are taking it on the chin. I would venture to say, to me, this is a worse looking chart, AMD's and Nvidia's, and we could see 125 again in that regard. We did eventually get Intel because everything was trending down. Intel decided to go sideways here off a 2065 level and then got a couple of shorts on this, and now it looks like it wants 20 even. I'm trailing Intel down 8% today. Like, what chip name is not approaching double digits and you're not having a bad day? No, I'm now trailing this one at 2030 because everything in chip land is having a bad one, and we get to have a Broadcom report on Wednesday, Aftermarket. So, yeah, have fun with that, Broadcom. Let's see how that goes for you.
Yeah, we're back long right now. Like I said, like Neil was mentioning there, Nvidia was the #1 stock. I mean, we were cruising. We had lost right here, but not really. Bought it back until just now, where we've lost. Like these dip buys right here, and we were doing it on the show. We were talking about it, just wasn't going. There's the dip buy right when we left you guys at 11 o'clock at the bottom, and then there's some out. So this was $2 in the money. Like it was a big stock, and then it came back in. We left it alone. We were buying 110. Then when 110 broke, we got out right there at 109.50. But then we just lost it again right there and again. So we just went 0 for 2 on shares. So this will be a red name for me right now as we try to battle back. We're long right now at 108.70 change. Again, I do not like the stock, but as far as a trading vehicle, I mean, Nvidia down 9%. You know, like at some points, and it doesn't have to be now. It could be tomorrow. It could be whenever. You know, this name, and unfortunately, our chart won't work out too well. You're down now 35% from its highs, right? That's going to be something that, you know, at some point, people look at it, and we've seen Cisco. We saw Meta fall 80, 90%. We saw Netflix fall the same way. This could be a disaster waiting to happen. And it looks like it's unwinding itself as we speak. So be careful, tread lightly. And I know that's hard to say when I've been fighting this long, but at the same time, feel like we've been scalping it out. Like we just had 108.70 all the way up to 109.16. So like, you know, it's been bad, but there have been scalped opportunities here where you could have taken advantage of, just few and far between, to be honest with you here today. So let's wait to see if there is a push. I think it needs to break at least the 50 period, right? I mean, it was only good when we were debating being above it. And then once we've gotten back under, the pressure and the momentum is just way too much for this stock. And remember, SMH, like all these things, SOXL, SMH, anything you can think of. There's a few other ones that are skipping my mind right now, even the inverse of all these. They have to also get in there and start selling, right? I mean, when Nvidia keeps coming to the downside, you're adding pressure to all of this because of these ETFs are so heavily traded. So, I mean, the amount of shares that are going through on Nvidia today, 300 million, I mean, it can get a lot more, and this volume could pick up and volatility could pick up greatly even to the downside. I mean, we might not bounce till 10, right? Like when you get SSR.
If it goes SSR,
that could be the bouncing spot there. So
I don't think we're getting there.
we'll wait for 108.50 to break, but
I'm actually,
yeah, you know what? People want
can't think
gates
of
hell. Oops,
I actually can't think of many times.
this is gates of hell. You don't want to have too much fruit salad on this Nvidia trade here, you know, unless you are having those limes in your fruit salad. This might be a sour fruit salad, this one here.
You don't usually get 10% down in the afternoon. Like a lot of times, like if a big name is going to get down 10%, it's gapping on earnings. There's news in the middle of the day, or it does the damage in the morning, and usually you're trying to make that bounce. And to get to SSR, I feel like Tesla did it one time in the afternoon on us, but man, that's just exceedingly rare. A stock that can move 10% anytime it wants to, Sharif, GameStop.
Oh, perfect segue in there, Neil. I wasn't sure what was going on. Yeah, GameStop again, no real headline today for GameStop, but we'll talk a little meme action over here. And the real good news, even though the price action hasn't reflected on the day, is a drop in the short interest by about 5% here. The short interest on GameStop dropped, still hanging out at around 10 1/5%. It would take traders about 5.5 days to cover their shorts given the current average volume on GameStop. Not really catching a bit of a bid today, but it certainly did, guys, on Friday.
Everything okay, Fabian? GameStop on Thursday and Friday.
Ever is.
All right, I have to. We got a new chair here, and like see the armrests, how they're like low. Usually it's a little bit higher. So now I have to like shimmy
jack it up
and kind of get over here. I have no idea how to raise them. I don't think I can raise these ones. I have to shimmy over and just put my rest arm here. I'm just getting comfortable. But GameStop was a long Friday. It was a long Thursday. It looked like it was a long today. I tried to buy the dip right in, like when it held 23 and put in like the first green on the 15-minute. So first green on the 15 minutes, it's breaking out. I'm like, okay, well, GameStop has done late day rallies on a day where the market's bleeding. Why can't a meme-ish type name be the thing that can go? So I was just looking for a reclaim of the 23 level. It ended up not breaking. Now you're just continuing the trend down. I think you got to let it settle. It had a nice rally. They don't report till the 10th. Double check that so we make sure we get it right. Yeah, September 10th. So they don't report until next week. But it was on a bit of a churn. I think if it heads back into 22.5, look at the daily chart. It was like Chop City between 22 and 22.5. So I think that could be a bit of a supply zone for GameStop. The afternoon rally that's been okay might have to wait because this is not broken trend. It's been trend down instead of the trend up that we've been able to catch at least a piece of the last couple of afternoons. This is distinctly different. When it looked like it made a base, we tried the breakout. No mas for GameStop. And just for posterity, because I think we'll have Andrew Rader back on. Still waiting on that breakout.
Potentially.
It's a potential break. And ultimately, these meme names have been going sideways for a while. GameStop did do a little mini break and went going for a bit of it, but a bit of a mini break here on AMC would have required getting back to $5.
All right, we're going to talk about Tesla soon. I mean, I just took a position on Tesla right now as well. We talked about it coming down into 212. We'll let Sharif get back there and start to cover that one. But yeah, man, just to regroup, everything's going lower. The market continues to go lower. We took some out on Nvidia. I mean, it's like I said, we're just kind of in scalp nation right now. We're long at 74s. I mean, if we could just kind of keep on getting piece by piece out here and then hold something, there it is. Like we'll take some more outs there in 88s, whatever that was right there, and just try to see what's going to happen here with Nvidia. Let's see if we can make a little bit of money back scalping the long, and we're long Tesla. But let's go over to the story here with Sharif.
Yeah, this is a really interesting headline here, Sean. Not one that I saw this morning. China's BYD is going to pause construction of its Mexico plant until after the election. That has far-reaching implications because we know the 100% tariff now covers both Mexico, Canada, the United States, essentially NAFTA. So if you want to bring in a Chinese electric vehicle that's not built in North America, it's going to cost you 100% more. And this plant here was supposed to get around that. So interesting headline coming out of BYD with respect to this plant. But Tesla did have good news, believe it or not, coming out of China. They sold 3% more vehicles this past August than they did in 2023, which explains maybe why this one was a bit stronger than most guys, down now 1%.
I'll take that as positive news.
I mean, it's not bad news, and certainly the market certainly liked Tesla this morning relative to everything else. There's no question about it. Things just changed, and we said this before. It doesn't matter how strong a stock is at any given moment. It could be a meme stock, it could be Tesla, it could be Nvidia. If the market bleeds enough, you tend to drag a lot of things down with it. That's what happened on Tesla. I was only looking long on Tesla early. It was a VWAP bounce until it wasn't. It was a 215 long that I kind of felt like, what am I doing in this if it's not breaking VWAP? And now it's trying to hold 212. I like 210 on a higher time frame. So we go to the 15. I will start on the 15-minute because I like this 210 pivot area from Friday. Like Friday morning, you had 210 half resistance, and then Friday afternoon, you had 210 half support. If we do get down in there to bounce off 210, I'd look for something at the 210 half level on Tesla. But as everything's starting to fall, I'd like to play off if some things can make some higher lows, I'd feel a little bit better, or just look for something that is not trend down. Not really finding a lot of that. I'll kick myself because this morning when we were talking about Tesla, I was like, well, if we can find our way into a Rivian short, Rivian's rejected the 14.5 level again, and much like every other stock out there, it just failed wherever it happened to be at the open. The first bid that was there, it failed it. And then it broke last week's support and everything. Now your choices are short at the bottom or wait for it to get to some kind of a big level at 1280. I mean, if I see 1280 on Rivian this afternoon, I think that could be a nice little bottom zone, another 2% from here. Yeah, if we get that, I'd look for a long on Rivian. But are we getting another 30 cents down here? The market's already this far down?
There has to be, I was thinking there has to be some sort of capitulated bottom here. We talked about that with Nvidia possibly being at that 10% marker. All right, so I wrote down here 212 bottom to watch out for. It's at 212. I have to go long now. I mean, this move, I don't have to, but I feel like, is there going to be a long in Tesla? Let's go and see. I mean, this is something that we had written down. We had lost early on it, but we didn't feel bad about it. Came into our levels of 214. We hit it. He hit it a little bit. It's funny that it kind of looks like that same day when I started the show today and was like, let's not get caught when it comes back in like this. But again, today was a little different. Under VWAP, at that point, it was probably VWAP at the 50 period of 216. We like the stock. We already seen it rip up all day. And we were like, hey, man, if the market wants to go, just the market doesn't want to go long, like all these longs would be fine. It's just the market kept turning on its head every single time, right? So I feel like okay with everything. But let's just wait to see what happens here with Tesla. Really at a breaking spot right now. If we break this 211.50, then I think we got to get out. That's sort of this bottom there. That was just before the imbalance area on Friday. So yeah, man, this is going to be a bad one. You know, Nvidia, by the way, we just scalped it around it and it just came out. So we haven't lost anything over the last little while because we've just been buying and then eventually just getting stopped out. But some good outs on the rebuy there for Nvidia. This name is... I feel so much stronger about Tesla than I do with Nvidia just because of where this is right now, only down 1%. The market wants to bounce. Let's play a strong name. So right now, giving this name to 211.50. Oh boy, it's just so funny that we were up on Nvidia and now it's just like crank to the downside again. So yeah, this name continues to be battered up. I mean, good thing we just got out at 108.50, right? Now it's at 108 flat.
We are going to, maybe.
I have to still watch this because I feel like there's going to be a spot.
If we go SSR on Nvidia, so just for everyone, I'll do two things here. One, first out and bob in front of 82. But when I say SSR, for anyone that's new, if you're just tuning in for the first time, maybe you're not that familiar with what we mean when we say that. It's a short sell restricting. Doesn't mean you can't go short. If a stock goes down 10% from the previous close in the NASDAQ, New York, or the NYSE markets, that's like the Amex, that happens, then the uptick rule is in effect that day and the following day. Now, what the uptick rule means is if you wanted to go short Nvidia by hitting the bid, there's buyers there, you want to hit them, immediately go short. The last print on the tape has to be an uptick. Makes it more difficult for a stock to be cascaded down by shorters just hitting the bid. And sometimes you'll get names that will catch a bit of a bid because it's a little more different. Like the offers will stack up because they have to follow the offer down, and then when it finally gets hit, you'll get like a relief. Sometimes you'll get a relief rally. So if Nvidia hits 10%, that's what you would get. I don't see any name, big cap name that's close to going SSR at this particular moment. It just seems like it would be Nvidia. Maybe we should have a poll end of the day where it wants to go. But a lot of things got killed. See, Carlos in chat's like Pepsi got killed. I'm like, what didn't? I mean, everything's looking bad. I see XOM in the chat. Like, I'm looking for something that looks a little bit relatively strong. XOM's not moving, but it is at least at its range high.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's better than nothing. But with oil futures closing in like 5 minutes or whatever it is, I don't know if there's going to be enough juice for that to get through. So the only new thing I put on was we grabbed that short in BABA. I'm trailing Intel. Not a heck of a lot that looks fantastic outside of if we get to 10% here on Nvidia, which we're now spitting distance away. Right, like that's going to be 107 something.
That's probably what we have to wait for.
Actually, let me actually do the real math on that.
That'd be nice. Yeah. Do you know the exact number? Yeah. Why don't we get that for everybody? I'm just trying to. I mean, again, I'm
107.43.
107.40s. Okay, so 107.40, 107.50. Watch out for that for Nvidia. If you guys are, I mean, that might be a good spot. You know, buy some 107.50 calls or something like that. If it does get down in there, and I don't know, 108.50s maybe for a dollar bounce. Okay, so Neil said let's look for something relatively strong. I mean, I've stayed with NASDAQ, which is probably incorrect, but we just took a little bit there on Tesla. I mean, it went into the 40s there. We got a 36, sorry, Phil. We got a 26 and a 36. We are waiting for a 48. I don't know why, just ahead of 50. And then hopefully back up, man. If we can get to the 50 period, then we'll be positive on Tesla, which will be nice. So let's see if we can hold out for at least a 213 or what is this, 212.86. So here we go. Hopefully we get a nice little move upside right now for Tesla. For Tesla, yes. Next stop on Tesla, if it goes. I don't know. We'll see if the futures want to get going off the bottom here. 212. Again, let's put something in the 80s. Let's put like an 80. Let's just put 80 flat. Hopefully we'll get a 50 and then we'll get an 80 and then we'll go from there. So that's just one little name and we don't want to get too excited off of one green candle. All right, Amazon. Let's just leave Nvidia. I feel pretty comfortable. Oh, sorry. Let's just leave Tesla now. This is another name that's pretty strong. You guys want to talk about some strong names? I mean, Amazon only down 1.1 is pretty nice. Yeah, I say leave Tesla.
Lulu's not that bad.
Yeah. Lulu? Oh, yeah. Well, their report was bad then good, right?
Well, I mean, the report was bad.
But then the stock...
then the stock went down, then up, and now is pretty much where it was before. It's consolidating at the highs. The bad news here, and the only reason... It's tricky because if you were to break out this top, go back to Friday. Resistance before earnings, resistance after earnings on the day, and you're hanging out underneath it. This needs to break not here, which is today's high. I think it needs to break here, which is Friday's afternoon resistance, like 263.5. Then it can go. Otherwise, it's stuck in the malaise. But I think we're on the right track trying to find something relatively strong. Hawaii Electric is up. PDD, Pinduoduo had a day today, which you're apt to do when you get destroyed. Doesn't take as much for it to go to the upside. I don't know why it was so relatively strong. When Bob was underneath resistance levels, now it's starting to pull back in here, pulling back into prior highs. There you go, Friday, 97s. And ideally, this would go down because that would mean BABA's likely to go down as well. But that's trend up, pulling back into prior highs at 97. That could be a little something. Unfortunately, I don't know, do you want to be only trading Chinese ADRs going into the afternoon when they're unlikely to move? I feel like that's not the case. So got to find something else. I'm not really seeing anything I'm absolutely in love with. Ooh, 108 just bounced on Nvidia. What about Apple?
That could be something.
Ooh, 222.
It's actually not that low. Thought it would have been lower.
Well, it's 3%.
Yeah. But, I mean, looking at these other names, 4, 5, 6%, like, as we go, man, I mean, here's the little watch list of all the names I'm looking at right now. Here's Nvidia down 9, the SOXL down 22, Boeing down 8, Intel down 8, ARM 8, 7, Micron 7.5, SMH, I mean, they're all the same. AVGO, Mara even down 9 for Mara, goes down Bitcoin right now. Wow. Texas Instruments, I mean, it just doesn't stop. There's Coinbase, of course, down 7. They're all kind of in the same thing. I get it. Google, again, down 3.5. Yeah, CMG might be something. What is strong though? Like I don't have any green names out of anything that I look at. Strongest name is Tesla, which is why we're on that, but that doesn't make any sense.
No, Chipotle's not strong.
No, Chipotle. No, I mean, I'm just looking mainly at tech names as we go. But like, I mean, here is, like when you're looking at Tesla here, I mean, this is just a 60-minute chart. Whether or not you have VWAP down here at 211 or 210, that's not accurate completely. That's where the 200 period, we're under VWAP. The 200 period is 210. So that could be a little bit of a bouncing spot. This is only on a 60-minute chart, not on a daily chart. But after that, I mean, it looks like you might get some support, but that's 194, 195, this area. So you got a lot to lose here in Tesla before we get anything back going here again. So that's just a 60-minute chart. But yeah, kind of a slippery slope here today. I've been trying to get some out on TSLA. It just doesn't want to go back up. Like we just bought some more 212s. I'm at 212.25. It just went to 212.20 and stopped. So until we get a phone call here that some of these, sort of hedge funds that like to buy depressed assets, like an ARC or anything, that may come in. And you might find out tomorrow that someone's bought millions of shares. I don't know exactly at what price. But right now, Tesla, I would think, would be sort of prime here. If the market wants to go, it's only down 1. I could see some strength coming back into this name, but there
the other thing that got announced,
just lost 212.
Well, so Nvidia
108 is right there.
It bounced 108 for now, but the other thing for Tesla was they also announced that the location for their the Robotaxi event.
Oh, where's Sharif?
Where is Sharif?
No, you can get into. I was at Sherway, and you can get into the Cybertruck whenever you want.
He was saying you couldn't get in.
Yeah,
he was all upset about it.
I meant to send him a picture there. I should have. I was there. So you had to line up to get in, but I think the line was like 5 minutes. And me
That's
and Marissa,
not a lineup.
No, it's nothing. Me and Marissa were just like, I don't want to go in. But it looked pretty minimalistic in there, but it was pretty cool. I should have, as Ramin said, I should have sat in there and sent a picture to Sharif so he could get mad, I guess. But
he's a Polestar guy now.
Yeah, but he wants to get into. I think the guy said he had $100 worth of Polestar. But at the end of the day,
what is that, like 1 million shares?
Yeah, it's a 4.8 million shares.
Basically, you own the company at that point.
Yeah. No, not just saying that he wanted to sit in the. So I should tell him that you can do it. But if it's in Yorkdale, you could probably do it there too. So, I don't know.
So I'm again just sort of looking around to see what we can have here.
Wow.
If Baba gets back to 82, I'm going to take another leg out. Polestar is oddly going sideways. I don't wonder. I don't know. It's not moving. It's barcoding. It's strong. Polestar is strong today. We joke around about it, but it's up 11%. 12%, I should say, and it's been up like 3 days in a row now. What do you think it got to? 200 period moving average on the daily, $1.45. We're talking about that this morning. So many things you could have shorted. This one you could have shorted right at that top. It goes right to the 200 period on the daily, and that's where it turns around. But I think we got to look over. Okay, so Nvidia actually wants to try to break out now? No. It just bounced exactly 108, I think. And there's a bit of a reversal candle. Now it's trying to break out this 108.5. Let's see how it responds. If buying actually comes in here, that is a decent wick where we didn't get to SSR, but you're trying to make a bit of a higher low on Nvidia. Yeah, consolidate here, break out, and then see what happens when you get to the 109 level. At least in theory, it's starting to look a little better. Rivian Millionaire just say Berkshire just went red.
Okay, I mean, it all makes sense. Just a matter of yes, go.
Everything's going red.
Go. Okay, sounds like Carnival there. Let's see if we can get a nice little upside move here. Finally, man. I mean, we've been selling this Tesla. I'm going to take another piece out here at 25. If we can get it, we were actually at 20. I put offer enter was 26s, so thanks for that. There we go. Okay, we get the 26 there. All right, so now we're good. Now we good. Let's now see if Tesla can get back. I was just going to say, if Nvidia breaks higher and Tesla doesn't, when I feel like Tesla's relatively strong, then that would be something that would be upsetting. But here we go. Nice little move up, 40 cents in the money on that one. And you're right, it looks like Nvidia trying to find, we said, well, where would that bottom be? It's not like a capitulated bottom. I mean, it's kind of like a very large sized candle there right here on that last little red push. But hey, man, we are completely fine with this rebound now in the market. 50 cents in the money. We will fire off the hot dog cannon. Why not? Nice little 50-cent win here for Tesla. We'll take some pieces out here. We're also at 50. I mean, now we're 50 cents in. Easy. Let's see if we can get some more outs. Oh, sorry, wrong stock. Let's see if we can get some more outs there for Tesla. There it goes. Nicely traded there. I mean, honestly, buy. Sounds like NSYNC there, but buy. More buying coming in. And maybe Kathy finally got the memo there.
It's possible.
Yeah, no, she was like, man, this stock is down too much. Let's see if we can buy this name back up. But no insider trading. We don't know anything about what Kathy Wood is doing, other than if we go to that website.
Every day. You know what? You might not know in the moment, but you're certainly going to know the day after. I always go to Kathy's ARC. I'm pretty sure it's just a free website that anybody can look at, and you can see what she's holding, what the changes were recently. So I'm willing to bet, usually on a day like today, the things that she likes, she buys more of. I'm just looking at Amazon above VWAP in here. I had the one Mag 7 name during lunchtime that broke VWAP was the one that I took. I'm going right back to it. It's only down 1% when the market's down 2.8. That's good, relatively speaking. If we can hang on to VWAP, this is the one I think I would like to take long unless something drastically changes. Maybe we can still get 108.5 on Nvidia. Omar just said in the chat there, Amazon over VWAP. That's what I'm looking at, but it's trying. It's trying to hold on to it. I'd like to see it consolidate. It just made the break. Now you want to see it hold above like it did before. When it held above, I took the long. Give me that hold, and that's what we're going to get into. Until then, Baba just retagged our entry area. It was a flat bottom break. There you go. It was a bit of a flat bottom break. It just came right back into the 81.20s, shorted it again back in. We'll see if it gets to 82. That's the level I'm looking at to get some out in front of 82 even. And if it breaks lower, great. Pinduo, which has been relatively strong, just continues to bounce. 1.5% for PDD. They seem to like a little Pinduo today. I got to keep my eyes on that. If it breaks out the high of the day, I'd imagine Baba might try to follow suit.
Yeah, probably. Tesla falls right back down, as so does the market, man. The market just fell right off of the 50-period moving average right there again. Someone in the chat was like, dude, you kept on talking about Nvidia 108.50. That's where we got stopped out. So I'm going to try it one more time right back in there at 108.50. If it snaps it. We'll get out. Not trying to, again, we've already fought this battle and lost on Nvidia. So we will let this one try to settle down a little bit down here and see if it will bounce one more time off 108.50. And if it doesn't, then see ya. We can get out of that one really quickly with only a 20-cent hit. So I feel like that is very, very reasonable and like above water for what I'm trying to do right now. So that would be a good one there. Tesla, we got long at 211.85. Look, man, we just took out profit there. You saw sort of where we got this out on the upside, hoping to do that again. Feel pretty not confident as it's falling down, obviously. 211.50 is going to be our out. It just barely held last time, so that's our out this time. Let's take advantage of that as we did. It bounced $1 there. So we got out of that trade. We are reloading it right now, but Tesla's going to be a profitable reload. It's just, will it last this last time? And it might not, man. I mean, this has been the story of today and how frustrating it's been. The market has bounced and given many opportunities. It's just like when you close your eyes and open them again, it's like, oh man, I could just reload at the same price I was just at. You got to take advantage when it does pop up. And we definitely, I have not done a good enough job of that. So we'll wait. There's Nvidia, just came in again. So 66 is my... 66 is the price. Now it goes right back. See what I'm saying? Like now it's right back into flat, and I almost got stopped out. So it's like, what do I do? What do I do? All right, well, let's take advantage of something here. If we can make a little bit on this play, let's do some of that. So take something out there at 78 or whatever we just got out at. Again, now trying to go 1-to-1, but just trying to scalp it out. We just said scalping might be the right decision. So let's try to stick with that and see if we can get away with something.
Yeah, that's all you can do. I mean, at the end of the day, like I was just looking at, Amazon was just at VWAP. We're just telling you guys, hey, there's a Mag 7 name above VWAP. Let's see if it can hold and look for the long. Like, it's over there for a couple of seconds, and immediately you're just wicking in and looking back into the downside. So for me, it's not looking like the long just yet in AMZN. Unfortunately, I would have liked it if it could have, but everything just seemingly working right back into some of those lows. I went over to Meta to have a quick look at what they were doing. Meta was, I mean, it's only down 1.5% again. That's less than the market. It's trying to hold a 513 level, but just, it breaks a resistance level. Man, this chair leans back easy. It breaks a resistance level at 13 and then immediately back underneath it. Like it's there for like a couple seconds. It looks like it's going to be good. Okay, we're going to trend into VWAP if we can hold this, and then you're right back underneath. So again, the only thing I've done here is get back into BABA. There's always a chance this goes sideways. If it breaks 82, that's kind of like a flat bottom-ish break. I'm looking back over it, like Bitcoin's right at 58 thou.
Yep.
And you're starting to hold the line on Mara. Remember what we said this morning about Mara? yada, 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 Mara short. But $15 has been the one place that Mara's been very buyable. You look at this even a word. If you look at this daily chart, sometimes it gets down to 14 bucks, but really it's been bouncing away from this. Just a couple of weeks ago, we're bouncing off 14.75. So Mara's getting into that target zone. It could go down 10% with one more push here, but you're starting to go sideways while Bitcoin tries to hold on to that even. I don't wonder if we can't break this one back out, if it can break this consolidation. Just looking for a relief rally because it's adjacent to 15. I did say this morning, I like the shorts in Mara, but if we get to 15, I probably start looking for some longs. I think we're starting to get to that particular point. I'm still liking Amazon more than anything else. It's trying to creep back up. There's another test of VWAP. Once it holds above, I'm going to like that long on VWAP, but I got to let it try to get there. I don't want to fight it as long as it's looking weak.
I mean, the scalp continues. I mean, I wish it was something a little more sexy than this, but Nvidia just keeps on dripping into 108.50, and we're kind of just going long, and then, you know, we just got an 80. What did we just get, like an 84 fill? Yeah, we got 84. So it's like 20 cents back and forth. I mean, if this breaks the 50 period, I think we can try to get going on that. But that's just a 1 minute chart. We haven't broken this 50 period since, it's not even that long ago, an hour ago is when we sort of broke it, and that kind of changed everything. And the momentum since then has been all downside. So here it comes, coming back in right now again for 108.50 retest. So Nvidia, I'd like to really see that break, and then maybe we can get a little bit excited one more time. That's 109. We just keep on getting out in front of it, but let's try to see if we can hold a little bit for a 109 break. At this point, I think we should just hold it all, honestly. I mean, if this continues to go, we'll have Justin coming through from Moomoo very soon, and we'll talk to him about this sort of rotation, I guess, out of some of the semis, right? I mean, I know he wants to talk about that, so we'll touch on that with him. But yeah, Nvidia now down 9. Maybe that bouncing point, you did the math there, 107.50 or so is 10% down, and that. So here we go. Like,
if we can't bounce
when this breaks 108.50, I'm gone. That is already it's not the low of the day, but it's a level that I wanted to support. You can't just keep on. How you get really smoked is that you just keep on digging in to all of these. There you go. So as I said, we got out there for probably 47s, but it's like if you play this to the end of the day or to the bottom of the day, then once that hits, you have no choice but to punch out. So let's get out now, regroup. And that was just a little bit of back and forth there again. So back and forth with Nvidia, back and forth with Tesla. It's a good thing we got out of Tesla there.
210.
I mean, look at this. There's the 212 retracement back up, and then boom. Like, it breaks that level. It's still frustrating because if we just flip this over the other way, man, we have all of them shorts all day. But it's like every time we get out, it pushes lower. So our outs are good spots, but our ins are not. They should be the other way around. But yeah, it's like, and then I look over and I say, oh, Amazon's relatively strong. And then all of them I'm thinking long, but we have to flip over.
What's so frustrating is like I'm staring at Amazon looking for it to break above VWAP, so it can do a reversal because it's strong. And then what's happening? It's actually rejecting VWAP. But to me, it's not weak enough that I would want to short it here. Everything else is so much worse. Like someone in the chat just said, Micron looks good for a long. And I looked over, I'm like, okay, well, is it at a big level on the daily? I hesitate to say yes there because 85, 86 would be the bottom of Micron, down 7% Micron. There is an undercover, bad-looking daily chart on a chip name. It has to be Micron. I don't think that one gets talked about enough. We always say AMD or something, or Intel. But just because it's making a higher low, to me, doesn't mean it's that kind of a trade to look for a bounce. I want to see something which is more obviously strong. That said, you've got to find something to get into or just be able to sit back. BOBA set up because it was a flat bottom break. Apple, I don't love it at 222, so it's going to be Amazon or it's going to be a lot of patience for Nvidia if it retests that low. That SSR at 107.5, there's very few chances you get for a big name to get 10% to the downside. When SMCI did, it was a heck of an opportunity. If you were there the first time it did it, it was a great long, like 3 or 4 times, but that was early in the morning. We've seen Tesla do this. Nvidia, I don't think I've traded Nvidia down 10%. So I think that it's going to be a first. No questions asked. It has to break this 108 first, and then you get that 107.5. But as we said, we're going to have Justin Zacks on, and wow, there's a lot to talk about here today. but the running to the hills on pretty much everything to open up the fourth quarter, because that's what we did today. We opened up the fourth quarter. My goodness, it's like the parting of the Red Sea on the bids as we speak. So we're excited for the volatility in the market, but I'll tell you, this is one of those, it's like, well, why aren't you short? I said it at least 7 times this morning. I'm not trying to punch bottoms in the opening range. I've been burned so many times doing that, and ultimately, you could have just kept hammering that short. It would have worked. Let's see what our good friend Justin Zacks from Moo has to say, because there's a lot to talk about here on this Tuesday. Wow, Justin. First off, welcome. Good to see you again.
Thanks for having me back on again.
Well, it's a good day to have you on. There's some things that are happening in the market today.
No.
Wow, the volatility.
There is some things, yeah.
There's a few things happening.
My bad.
A little bit of volatility out there. We get AVGO this week, but everything has to start with, people like to say risk off. I feel like we need a better term for days like today. Do you have anything you'd want, like what could you throw out there? Because risk off seems a little bit weak.
Yeah, I mean, it's risk off, but definitely you're seeing this pivot, right? It's summer's over. I mean, I'm here in New Jersey. The weather's gotten a little cooler. The market feels different, right? There feels more volume. You're talking about this buy the dip's not working today at all, right? Like it's just gone straight down. Pretty much every major stock, the indices, which is much different than we've seen. Even when we saw some volatility in August, there was always a buy the dip during the day at some point, right? We didn't see zero today, right? That's just this constant sell pressure coming in. And so, you may see a scenario where we finish at the lows of the day.
Yeah, we definitely hope not. But at the end of the day, I mean, your trader's a trader, but we're always more happy when the markets go to the upside. So talk to us about, we got some PMI data, obviously, and there's been some good news for the overall markets. What's the role in economic data here? Like, is any of this putting any fuel into the fire? I mean, you'd like to see manufacturing be good. What are your thoughts on how that contributed, or did it just not matter? Do you think we're just going to go down anyways today because of the sentiment, or did any of the PMI matter?
Yeah, I think it was kind of this perfect storm for a number of reasons for seeing a sell-off. One was we had, this window dressing. Last Friday we saw a huge move up, particularly in the last 10 minutes of trading. We, traded up 20 handles very quickly. Funds buying, want to look good for the month. You start off the new month and just seasonality is not, on your side in September. September is the worst month of the year. The average S&P performance is down 1.1%. Some of the bigger crashes we've seen in September. So you have that. And then you have the economic data, which last week honestly was quite good, or at the very best, middling, right? And now we get these PMIs and these ISMs that don't look so hot, but it wasn't even in the U.S. that was the real problem. It was the Chinese PMI, their manufacturing PMI, that came out below expected, and you're seeing oil drop 5%, right? That is really a precursor to a global economic slowdown, and that's, I think, what really kicked this off. So you see people thinking about this, slowdown may be hitting us pretty quickly because you have these geopolitical tensions and oil's down this much. That's not necessarily a good sign for the economy overall.
No, you don't want to see that. And obviously, that's why you get this kind of a bleed. Like, we're looking at our quote boards. And again, when you're a day trader, your quote board's not going to be, maybe it might be different from a lot of others, but you're bleeding into everything. Like nothing is to the green side. It's all red, with the exception of a couple of Chinese EV names and obviously VXY and TLT, which you expect to be in the other direction. And that's just my quote board. So one of the things that you've also been able to lean on recently here, Justin, is in addition to just buy the dips, there's usually been some strength in the market somewhere that you could lean into. There's been something strong, like energy might be strong on that day, or maybe you're getting something in healthcare. But when you have the concerns that you just mentioned, you can't hide today.
What you're seeing today is energy you can't hide out there, right? And suddenly utilities have become a AI play. You can't hide out there. Healthcare is working today, right? Healthcare is doing decently. That's about it. That's the real defensive play. Otherwise, people are looking to be moving the cash today.
I'm laughing here, Justin, because people in the chat are like, "Oh my God, is Sean okay to demortgage the house or anything today?" No, I mean when these moves happen, yeah, I am a little bit like, "What is happening here? What am I trying to do?" And I'm trying to look for more entry points. But you had sort of mentioned that potentially we could finish near the bottom. I mean, all of us can take a guess. We have something like a lucky 8 ball here. We could ask it many random things. Let's talk about moving forward here, because today's market seems to be a little bit of a disaster. There are some key earnings coming through this week. Is there a name that specifically you're interested in? I mean, and we've got the notes here. Zscaler, I guess, HPE, which is great, HPE Enterprise there, Dollar Tree, maybe we can have a look at that as well, and Broadcom, all coming this week. I think they're all super interesting and all kind of for their own reasons. Which name or multiple names are you guys looking at over there at Moomoo?
Yeah, I mean, the three of those four you mentioned are obviously, a good idea of where the AI play is going to go. Zscaler, right. Particularly Hewlett Packard Enterprises is going to be, very important on that AI side. But probably the most important one is going to be Broadcom. And it's right. Not just for AI, it's just chip demand overall. And it's about that recession. And I'll tie that into NVIDIA, right? We saw NVIDIA report, above average expected earnings, but not as good as the beats we've seen. And we've seen it underperform. Even on Friday, it underperformed the market. Now we see it down big, right? One of the reasons it's down big today is because of Taiwan Semi and news out of China, right? The last time we saw NVIDIA down around this much, it was down 10% on April 19th. And so if you want to look for a level for today, that's about 107.43. I think that'll be a key level to see if it can hold that level for today. And it's the same thing. That deep 10% drop was on Taiwan Semi scaling back their outlook back then. So it's important to watch some of these competitors, and Broadcom will be that next competitor. Second biggest chip manufacturer in the U.S. by market cap, right? So supremely important, not as important as NVIDIA, but the next one up. And so what they're saying about their demand, and particularly even on the non-AI demand, might even be more important in terms of where we're going to go for the overall market and the economy, and what type of, sometimes you see these semis lead some of these recessions. So we want to see if that demand can hold up.
Yeah, we had talked about the semis, like the SMH being sort of like the new transports. Everyone used to look at the Dow transport. And then, you can see the downside. September 4th is Dollar Tree. So I have that marked down right here. And we are also screen sharing with you as well, Justin. So if there's anything you want to show. But what a disaster this has been on the daily for Dollar Tree. Is it that bad of a story where Walmart's kind of eating their lunch here? Any opinions on Dollar Tree? Is it time to pick this up? I mean, we're at some pretty big lows now, breaking through this $100 mark. Dollar Tree coming in a couple days. A lot of options going through there. Anything going through on Moomoo that you guys are noticing, or any opinions on Dollar Tree and sort of the way it's been moving here?
So again, I think this is a great test to how the lower end consumers is doing. Right. And so, obviously they're expecting a slowdown in their same store sales. What the key thing I'm going to be watching for is, we saw their competitor Dollar General cut the forecast and just get smoked. Right. If they don't cut their forecast, I think there's room for a pop in that stock. Okay. You could see, some of these people, you saw the chart, right? It's been straight down. So obviously not good, but you look at overall how that's been doing. That's, I think, the forecast, more importantly than even the same store sales. People are going to expect these same store sales to slow. It's going to be, are they cutting that forecast? What are they looking for going forward? And if it's at least holds up, it doesn't even have to be excellent. I think you can see some people say, well, maybe this is time that they are interested in buying.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you're always looking for, that guide, right, to make sure that they don't have to cut that. Walmart, though.
I was going to say,
I mean, Justin, like Walmart, what are we even talking about here? I mean, look at this stock on a daily chart. I mean, you want to talk about a complete opposite there. They're not guiding anything lower, that's for sure. Walmart straight up. We have basically seven, what am I even talking about? It's like 9 or 10 up days with one little red blip in there somewhere, middle of last week. I can't even believe this, that we're going to be up on Walmart today, heading into this kind of a day. So there's strength definitely in that name. And then of course, Costco, as I have the wrong moniker here, is a NASDAQ name. Let's see if that's up today as well. Maybe it's not, but Walmart, any comments on that? I mean, I think that if we're going to run away from retail names, I think this place we can hide out for, especially now, is Walmart. Or are we getting top heavy? Any opinions on WMT today, Justin?
Yeah, I would say, people have an old-fashioned view as Walmart of you being a Dollar General or a Dollar Tree. And it's a grocery store now in a lot of ways. And so it's more, and Kroger's reporting on Friday, so that's going to be one to watch as well. So you're thinking about what people absolutely need to buy is groceries, and that's where some of this defensive money flows in. So it's not just these good value bulk goods that Walmart's selling, but Walmart also gets the trade down from people that are in a wealthier spot. Right. So when you want to cut back and you're wealthy or you're upper middle class, you start going to Walmart. You don't necessarily start going to Dollar General, Dollar Tree. So I think those are the differences. And so a lot of people are thinking, that's kind of how they're thinking is, when you see these consumers starting to get hurt, that the last thing they're going to cut back is on groceries. Right. So that's where they're running to.
We know that back to school too, right?
Back to school as well. Well, you know what? But you were talking about Kroger's reporting at the end of the week, but we're going to get employment data as well. So talk about hiding anywhere in retail. At the end of the day, if we start seeing weakness after what we've already had to start this week, if we get weakness in the labor market on Friday, I mean, are all bets off at that point? Because if people are scared about the economic downturn, and then we get any kind of confirmation this week in employment, we could be in a little bit of trouble. And then I'm not going to like any retail name in that vein, Justin.
Yeah. So yeah, you're the interesting part here is the expectations from the analysts are actually a little bit better on the employment front than they were last month. So even if we get anything that was exactly like last month, even though it's not a decrease, it's not going to be good. And not only have these employment, but we have jolts, we have claims on Thursday. So we get a bunch of employment data that's coming out very soon. I think that's going to get, and we have ADP too. So we have all this employment data, and we have Beige Book on Wednesday. So this week is like full of economic data, and pretty much you're going to have trading opportunities every single day from these different data points, which is really great.
No, we always want opportunities in there, and obviously, one of the good things, and that's what we talk about with you guys over at Moomoo, like the ability to sort of streamline. There's so much out there in the market. The ability to streamline your ideas, the setups that work for you, like the sectors that you like. You've got to find some way to condense it. Otherwise, it gets really, really overwhelming. Like the market today, if there was a million things you could have looked at to go short, or that's doing 2 to 3x what it's rational.
I think there was like 1.5 million thing.
Million and a half.
I heard that report in my.
No, and it's very important that we make sure as traders we try to narrow it down as much as possible. That's why we love having you on here to sort of give a higher look at some of the interesting catalysts that we're going to get this week. Any thoughts? Anything we haven't covered here for some final thoughts that you might be thinking about that you didn't get off your chest here, Justin?
Yeah, I would say this. This is definitely one of the most important weeks that we're going to see this year. We just have, with all this economic data, a couple good earnings reports, and the volume coming back into the market. I'm going to be looking at all of these different things, and as you always talk about, Nvidia is such a key stock, so continue to be watching that one. And so that's kind of where I'm looking at all these different things going into the rest of the week.
Justin, I want to make sure that everybody scans that QR code right there. Find more information about Moomoo and your platform. Thank you so much, for coming back on the show and continuing to sponsor us here at Trader TV Live. Lots of great information there. Justin Zacks, thank you so much, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.
All right. You know what, Nvidia, man? Like, honestly, now that Justin's gone, but I've been building into a position here, and I didn't really want to talk about it. not that I didn't want to talk about it, but 108.50 here, trying to go again on Nvidia. That's still Walmart. We'll go over to here. We just scalped a little bit out there on Nvidia, but I'm just finally, it's finally happening. We took a small short actually in front of the 50-period moving average. Then once it broke, we got out, which was fine. It was nothing. But I was thinking like maybe that's the short. We could still be there for the short, but I want to give this a go here. Even Justin was like, look, in the afternoon, we've had opportunities in the past where the market's rallied. A late day sort of rally into the afternoon. I wonder if that's what it's going to be like now, because if I was going to bet honestly, and I think this is something I could have asked this to Justin too, but you know, is tomorrow going to be green or red? You know, I mean, it's such a flush out today.
After a day like today, it's going to be green.
Right, so exactly. So there you go. So I think that we're thinking alike there, where we probably, I don't know. I mean, again, this is something that we could ask ChatGPT about this.
ChatGPT?
No, just like what are the chances of after a minus 2.5% day in the NASDAQ or something, the likelihood of a green day following? I'm sure there's statistics.
I was just going to ask, will tomorrow be a green day for the NASDAQ?
Yeah, what am I talking about? Stats. This thing knows.
There's always the bubbles in the way. Settle down. It'll settle down.
You can't shake it as much. That's the problem.
Oh, I shake it too much?
Way too much.
You know, the problem is I'm talking as I'm shaking it, and now I can't even read it.
Shake it off. Do a little Taylor Swift.
There, I'll have to let that one settle down. The question was asked. It's got the answer. I just can't read it.
You're right.
Like the bubbles are all there.
I can get
we just broke 109.
Something about Rumble?
Rumble?
We'll have to wait.
Why
I don't want to move it, but I have to hold it because it's not going to stand. Okay. All right, Neil, you really screwed this up. We'll have to ask it again.
I shook it way too much.
Yeah, you shook
I was talking. Just a couple of things. I just trailed out of Intel. Intel's making a reversal, and I might reverse into the long on this. Just broke the 2025. We've been short this one since 2050 or 2055, 2060. So if this can hold above the 20 quarter, it's bounced off 20 even. Looking for just hold the bid. Like it breaks a level, and then the buyers decide this is the moment that we're going to stop. The other thing that's happening, Amazon's back over VWAP. More important, Amazon's now holding above VWAP. This looks a little bit better. Let me see if I can get the 60s in here on Amazon. I want to be able to give it to, even if I give it to the 40s. Amazon above VWAP, like how many big cap tech names can say that? Yeah, that's right.
I think.
The answer is
zero. I yelled that out inappropriately. But
no, it's zero. There's none of the big cap tech names are above VWAP except for Amazon. It's down slightly less than, now 1%. So it's trying to break out this local high. I'm going to give it back in. I took the break, so I'll give it back to the 50 here on Amazon. I bet you still can't read it. I shook that way too much. That's my bad.
The problem is, like, in order to try to, I know. If it says something about Danielle Shea, that's what it is. So we have to ask her.
Yeah, I jacked that up.
We got to try that again. All right, out a little bit here on Nvidia as it goes to 109 and change. We're long at 108.70 on our biggest. I mean, it was our biggest. We're starting to scalp it out. I'm into scalp mode now. I would love to see Nvidia ride back up to the promised land here, but honestly, is that going to happen? Justin also gave us that 107.43 area, I believe.
10%.
Yeah, so if that hits, we talked about that as well as an area. 109.70 is the 200 period. Normally, if you can get a stock and you do have the bottom, it's kind of like a fib thing that I haven't tested. It will normally go back to the 200 period, and then you have something to talk about because we've cleared the 50. And as Neil mentioned, we could still get to VWAP. I mean, 111 is only $2. I say only, but I mean, that would be real nice if we could get up to there, Miss Adara.
Part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. If you feel lost in the noise of the market, then you need Benzinga Pro. Benzinga Pro cuts through the clutter and gives you the insights you need to make smarter, faster trades. From real-time news to unusual options activity, we'll show you exactly what's moving the market and why. Don't miss out on your chance to trade like a pro. Visit benzinga.com/pro to start your free trial today.
Thank you, Adara, for that one. I actually have, and thank you for the credit there in the chat about this NVIDIA trade. I mean, we're making it back. We made back everything. We're not going to be up on NVIDIA, but we've made back whatever it was that we had lost just screwing around, messing around right here. So we only lost once. We actually lost twice. There, but we got some out. There, but we got some out and lost. Then we did short ahead of the 200, the 50, which is going to obviously turn out to be a mistake as I sit here and watch to see what's happening. We just got a piece out there again at 15s or 14s. So that has actually worked out for us. So hard to complain here today for the rescalp of NVIDIA. And at least we sort of came up with that idea that, hey, take another piece out right now at 10s or 9s. let's just get it out as it comes back up, man. I mean, we're in the money now, 35 cents, 40 cents now. Let's just, let's take it out. And if we can have half, which we have a little more than that right now, left, then giddy up, man. And maybe we do get into that 200 period moving average. But let's start to lick some wounds here, buy the bottoms and see if it is the bottom. We still have an hour to go.
Yeah, it's only power hour just.
I mean, can the market get back? You know, kind of wishful thinking potentially, but an area to get to look at, I guess, would be VWAP is 19,250, so 19.2. I mean, we talked about that as being that little area earlier today, that if 19.3 doesn't hold, then we could bounce off of that. That's where we lost, because that was a tough road there once that broke. But that was a level, so 19.2. So let's see if we can get back there, which means the futures have another 150 handles higher, which means Nvidia soars. But does that happen?
It's a long way to go when the market's down that 3 points. So, you know, Amazon, like I said, finally got above VWAP. It's starting to look a little bit better. If it gets to the 80s, we're going to get some out there. 177 even. I'm just looking at where we had resistance above VWAP the last couple of times, right? Which was at 80, which was at evens, and right at evens. And if you end up breaking that, you go to the morning highs in here, 177.5, and then you start to really be able to juice it up. And everything's starting to go. Tesla, okay, so Tesla held that 210.5 and is trying to break it out. So remember 210.5, you have to look at a 15-minute chart, which I'll get to in a quick little second. But now that it's done it, can it hold on to this 211? There's a buyer right here above 211. Hasn't broken out the top yet. No buyers above the quarters. I think I'm looking long quarters, maybe back into the 11s. You know what? No, let's leave it on here. Zoom it back out, and you can look at Thursday and Friday, and you'll see that 210.5 was kind of a key pivot spot. This is where you want to see it bounce, but it has to break out these quarters. Don't get to resistance and fail. Get to the resistance and break through. Otherwise, I'm not interested. You've got to get through that resistance spot. And as I say it, I'm getting excited. Tesla's trying to hold. It loses that resistance level and comes back in. So still needs to break it out up top here above the quarters. Yeah, Tesla tried to go. You just saw it was trying to go in there. Now I can kind of calm down, go back over to the 15-minute, show you Friday. This is 210.5, morning resistance, afternoon support. And right now, the bounce spot, in theory, on Tesla, if it can make this breakout. So I'm just in Amazon. I'm not going to reload short in Alibaba because the market is trying to bounce. So I'll wait for some kind of a reversal to go ahead and do that on Tesla. Get up. Get up, get down.
Okay.
Do something.
Yes. Okay, so just really quickly. Oh, not really quickly. We can stay here for a very long time. Yeah, we're falling down, man. Back in again. So good out there of Nvidia. Obviously, we will wait to get a little bit more out. If it does come back up to the upside there, we'll take some more out. I did want to talk about TQQ trade. I actually think this is a reasonable long. I mean, you're going to think that sounds a little bit insane, but if we can break this level and be above the 50 period and try to hold it, I actually think this here area at 63.02. I mean, if you want to talk about the SPY, I know there's a lot of you trading that as well. Let's have a quick look to see what level that would be on the spiders. I mean, it's not as nice because you have that wick, but I mean, it would still be roughly the same, and you have a little bit ways to go right now on that. But coming into right there, basically 554, an area. These wicks are good because it's right at the 50-period moving average, so that's nice. I mean, you could almost take a break right there and take something like this, 553.50, something like that for a take, but that's in the pocket there for me on the SPY. So that would be a take there. Now the TQQs are falling down, so I feel a lot better. First of all, let me get something out on Nvidia right here at 94. We'll just put an offer and get it out. I feel better on that break rather than buying this dip. So we heard what Justin said. We had sort of talked about, hey, can the market get going or not? And if it doesn't, then fine. But if it does, I like that break. So we'll take that and hold it against the 50 period. 25 cents worth of risk, giddy up. We'll do that. Because if it can get back to the 200, then that is 25 cents. So 1-to-1, kind of like that. Nvidia, we just took another piece out here at 94. We talked about that. Hopefully that can get going. All right.
And Intel's a forever short.
Dealer Delta, minus 3.8 billion. Is that what are you talking about here? Is that like an early look on the imbalances? I don't know. Or are you talking about, I guess, is that an aggregate number, minus 3.8 billion? Anyways, I don't know what that is, Jose, but maybe you can explain it and we'll deal with that. But he said TQQs is the right play. I mean, Is it? I'm just looking at the NASDAQ right now, and you're at the bottom. I thought we could have got excited there taking the 50 period. You could see we've pretty much been under. I mean, every time we broke higher, we did have a nice little run every time we broke higher, you know, but again, now we're not. So that was a good one, up to 63, and then the fade back in. So there's the break, there's the run, there's the fade. So I feel like this is playing out almost perfectly. We've done, like, net-wise, I'm not embarrassed to say this, but we've done nothing pretty much all afternoon here. We battled with TQQs. Not actually, we only battled with Nvidia, I guess, right? We had some Tesla trades, I believe, yeah. And that was fine until it wasn't. So yeah, so far so good here. Pretty flat afternoon for me, but want to make some opportunities happen here.
Astus is going. ASTS is starting to go. So on a day like today, maybe it's always, you always look for something which is doing something different, right? And ASTS, it's been a high flyer in the past. Obviously, it's on the other side of the move at this point. When you look at the daily chart, it's not like it's impressive the last couple of sessions, but it hasn't really made a big capitulation the last few days, and it's held on to, you know, like $28 in here, and now you're starting to see, like, there's a bit of a double bottom. Like I said, $28, there's your double bottom. It's trying to break out a local high, and there's room. The local high is 29.80, so if we can get through that and 30, I'm breaking this out long and looking for the half and then 31 even. So ASTS, it's only up 1.7%. And again, a trade is a trade. So this is AST, the Space Mobile. What is that? Market cap's like a 7 billion, and the float's only 137 million. So it's not gigantic, and it has been running pretty decently. I'm just looking for that top to get taken off. Once, almost twice. If you can take out that high, ideally a consolidation under, and don't just get there in one shot. But AST is starting to look a little bit good again. I only call it that because that's what a few traders have called it. And it sticks in the head after a while. Like, I know it's AST Space Mobile, and we should call them by that name every now and then. But Amazon here, which we got into off of VWAP, you're not even seeing it. Can't break the consolidation higher. It might break it lower. I'm just going to jump out if it does. I'd say big disappointment for that. Thought that one of the stronger names could do it. Even Tesla, which tried to get back above that 211 quarter, no breakout. It's holding the higher low. I want it to break out this top and then work into 212. So that hasn't happened yet on Tesla. So we're just waiting for that to either break or for ASTS to break out that high. The other thing, and I said until the corner of my breath, is a forever short, like you trail out when this breaks the consolidation at the bottom, it goes a couple of pennies higher and then just dumps again, right back into the low of the day. Like this, when that happens, you're being told that the stock is still a short. So the idea should be to try to short it again. Next available pop, if we get one in the market, I'll probably try to short Intel off this 2030 level. Like you trail out, where I think it made sense to with that rounded bottom, what the market was doing, and then that was essentially a short entry where we got out of it. If we get another pop, we're going to take a shot at Intel to the south side. Disappointing that we just got out. And then Alibaba in here, it just broke that 82 level. We were sort of sitting in this one off the flat bottom break, reloaded the same price, and now it's trying to break the 82. And then there goes Amazon. So the one stock, the one Mag 7 stock, I shouldn't say the one stock, plenty of stocks are above VWAP. The one Mag 7 name that was strong went for the breakout, and I've had this one twice above VWAP, and then it breaks out or fails that breakout above VWAP. So another rejection of VWAP on Amazon. Should still be short Intel. We'll rectify that the next time it makes an upward move. But I'm not going to short the low of the day right at 312. Got to be a little bit more patient than that, I think.
Yeah. I think patience is going to be really key. And I was just going to say, like, man, I'm glad you're short Baba, because it's like the short is like.
I want Baba to go up in the general sense.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, come on, man. I want all these stocks to go up in a general sense. But we got another fill on Nvidia. It's only 313, so there's a little bit of time left here. We got 1904s.
I'm gonna get
right there. Decent year, I guess. I don't know if it was or not. 1904. There's a bid there. 109.04. So, anyways, let's see if it gets back up again. Now the 200 period is a little bit lower. 109.50. We do have an offer at 109.24s, 109.47s in case we do get lifted upside right there. I think it's a pretty easy out now, man. If we break below this 50 period, let's give it a little bit more room, but we're pretty close to getting out if it does break lower than that on Nvidia. Let's hope not, but that's a play for us again. Tonight, earnings, we're going to have Brian Shannon on the After Hours show, which should be really nice. We'll talk a little bit about anchored VWAPs and Nvidia, and if there's anything that we can find on that. And then also, if there's any questions, Bears versus Bulls, please remind me. I'll try to remind myself, actually, but we'll take some questions from Brian Shannon if there's any stocks, because we have GitLab.
I have a question.
Okay, good. Yeah. What is it?
No, my question would be, oftentimes you'll anchor VWAP, VWAP on an earnings day or something like that. When you have my question is just like, when you have a day like today, or your day like the 5th, no particular catalyst, but everything does an outsized move. Do you take those capitulation days and throw an anchored up on a day like that? Or is it just reserved to things like, big monster volume spikes or earnings or things along those lines? So something, that's kind of what I'm kind of curious about, just to see what his thoughts are. And the best thing about the Aftermarket show? Well, there's a lot of good things about it. No, well, if like everything's happening fast, sometimes earnings are going through and maybe you're excited reading an earnings report, you miss something here or there. Hey, you got all evening. You can always go back, rewind it, listen to what Brian says again, or a lot of times when Danielle comes on and she's got her plays and she's looking at options, which maybe you're not as familiar with like I am, but you can always take that time later on in the evening after dinner or whatnot to go watch that 15 minutes of Trader Talk back again if you need to, which is always cool. So that's the reason I asked. I mean, you can prepare for tomorrow by listening to Brian. So there's a heck of a lot to look at. One of the things on a day like today, I have to admit, because you've seen how hard trading is today, right? Even when we're trending, it can be a challenging day to trade. That's why I believe the campus program matters a heck of a lot. So if you are in Canada, if you are passionate about trading, the campus program is back. Unfortunately, it's not for U.S. citizens, but if you're in Canada, this program is for you. It is a free program where you can learn to trade on a professional trading platform, where you get the market basics to start out with, you get one-on-one coaching, you get introduced to this platform, P Pro 8 that I've traded on a long time, many years, that Sean has traded on, that Brendan, Sharif, Adara, Obi, the entire team trades on here, and all the guys in the back, Big Patty Ice. We're all trading on this. We give suggestions for the platform to improve it all the time. It's a great platform for fast execution. You got a great simulator at phase 3 that you go into, as I said, one-on-one coaching all throughout, so that hopefully you can grow every single day, get those bad habits and mistakes out of there if you can. That's about a 4-week program in the simulator. Then you get the chance to go live. I mean, this is what it's all about. You still get one-on-one coaching, trading real money, getting real experience, and possibly getting a funded account. You got goals that you're going to have to meet. No questions asked. You got 16 hours a week of trading that you got to put in. You've got work that you've got to put in there.
Put in that work
to do. There's no question about it, but it's free. All it takes is your time and effort. Trading is hard enough when you don't try to do it the right way. So if you are in Canada and you think this is the program for you, then check out realtrading.com/campus, scan the QR code, check the link in the description of this stream, and sign up, because it fills up very, very quickly, as we always say. And it's a great opportunity for anybody. Like I'll say it, I say this all the time. I've been fortunate. I have always traded on a prop desk where I've had risk managers and the risk system that shuts you down if you go too far, and all that kind of external discipline was given to me, right? Like most traders have to develop all that stuff for themselves. And I think that's why I'm always passionate about this program, because it's a hard game, and if it can be made easier for other people, then I'm all for that. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Yeah, no, I think that's great. I mean, you got to start somewhere, and I think that it's a good point there, Neil. Bring your A game to the campus program and see if you can come out, victorious. I mean, this is what trading is, right? It's you versus the market, you versus yourself. I mean, you got to make the right trades. You got to hit the right buttons. All right. Well, about that, Nvidia. Here we go.
Here we go.
I mean, we are time to dance with the devil right here, and it does appear to be not just a pale moonlight, but definitely a bright one, shining right in our face. And all the sell signals are right here, right now. We continue to ignore those, of course, and go long on Nvidia. So it's coming close to that breaker spot right now. We thought the momentum was going to be to the high side. Seems like it is not, as it continues to fade out. But again, it's just like, it's frustrating, because we don't show our nets and everything, but I can just tell you, giving you the truth all the time. Obviously, we're not going to be green today. We don't have one green stock, all red. But as like we win on this and then it comes in and then we just give it all back. Like the moves are not continuing. Most of these longs, besides this one, had some kind of sort of tailwind pushing them through. Right now, we're not going to sit here and try to catch this, man. We're right at the 50 period, and here we come in right now. We're starting to fall even lower right now. We're going to get out on break lower than this, man. 108.40s. We'll be gone out of this. And again, it's just like, we'll be slightly red on this last transaction. You know, this was a buy here at, and I'll let Neil come in a second, 72s. And I mean, these outs are 20s. These outs are 14s. These outs are 15s. These outs are 90s, 80s. So it's 20, 30 cents of a win. And right here, we're long at 67s. So we're going to lose again 20 cents on the way back. But the problem is when you lose, you're losing on your full position. So it's like whenever I get out for 20, 30 cents, that's why I try to scalp it out. Can never pick the tops, but apparently we've been pretty good picking the bottoms as the market just continues to go lower right now. Will Nvidia break that 108 bottom today? I mean, do we just wait for that and say kind of like
the SSR level? What's interesting is that
wait for that.
for Justin to say the exact same thing that we were saying for that level, 10% down, 107.43, it does say something. But here's the point I'm going to make. Like, Tesla's trying to bounce. Win, lose, or draw on this trade, and I have to do something stupid, at least now it's starting to go. This will be the first green name that I was long today. It's this simple. AMD today, shorted it, up on AMD. GME went long. I mean, GME doesn't really count the same way the other stocks do, but we took a long on GME, and that's a red stock. Intel was a stock too short today, so green on Intel. Mara was a short today, so green on Mara. Meta was a long today, so red on Meta. Microsoft was a long, I'm talking about for me, I'm not saying in general. Microsoft was a long, so red on Microsoft. Nvidia, okay, in fairness, I've been in both directions on Nvidia, but point is all the recent ones were long, and I had actually gotten myself to the point where I had gotten it back, and then I started going long. So that one's red. And then, like I said, Tesla is turning into, okay, fine, I've maybe gotten a couple of better spots to have gotten into Tesla to be green, but it has been that simple. And I cannot remember the last time that was true, where simply every stock that I was only short worked, but that's the kind of day it's been. So Tesla, it did eventually hold this level. It is a key level. Let's not forget this 210.5 level has been something for the last week and a half, right? Like when we're above it, it's good. When we're beneath it, it's bad. You can see like we run away from it. We run away from it. We run away from it. It's just trying to do the same thing in here today. That's what we waited for 210.5 to hold. It held, made a higher low, broke out the top, dipped back into the higher low support, and now it's trying to trend up. We get to 212.5, and I'm getting the you-know-what out of Dodge. Yeah, that's the morning range bottom and clear resistance on Tesla. If Tesla wants to go more than that, Tesla can have lots of fun doing so. But I'll just take the bounce off structure, and if we can get through 212 and get to those quarters, then I'm just going to take it. Like, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. It's a weird saying, but it actually makes sense. Basically, if you get a long that's working on a down day and you have a level that says, hey, that's a pivot spot, I should be taking profit out in front of it, then go ahead and do that. Don't try to hit the home run when, you're up against Nolan Ryan and his curveball's too nasty. Sometimes you just got to look the other way and slap it in the right field and get to first base and do some damage.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully, I don't know where first base is today, but we are going to sit around and try to get somewhere like first base. Nvidia right now continues its move down. It's funny, Daniel in the chat's like, you got to get bigger on this stock. I don't think so, man. Not today. We have our strategy. If it breaks that sort of wick bottom, we will get out. And again, look, this is just what I want to show you. I zoomed in. Like, here's the buys all the way down in. So we buy some 70s, some 60s, some 50s. And then there's the out right now again. So some of our outs pretty good. Now we'll wait. I mean, if we almost got stopped out right there. This is just how unbelievably volatile this name is. And I can't even get the words out. 109.50s. I guess we can cancel those right now. I don't want to have too many orders out just to make sure that if I do ever flatten out that it, everything operates properly. So right now, 108.65, we are flat on the trade. If you don't like this trade, I don't blame you. You can get out now for flat. let's see if there is a move back up. I mean, the futures are almost looking like that flat bottom break there. I'm actually going to cancel that break long on the futures right now, because if it's going to work, then Nvidia will work, and we'll already have that. Don't need to push double the long right here. I'm almost thinking about this break, because we're going to get out of Nvidia not near the bottom. But if the NASDAQ takes down this 19,031, it's kind of random area, but that is the low of the day. I don't know. It's getting to the point of the day now where it might not be worth getting too excited about too many more trades. What time is it? 3:25.
Speaking of which,
we still have the imbalances to come through.
Nvidia on the brain.
Nvidia
Tesla
again.
just went to the 212. It very, very, very briefly broke 212 and immediately rejected it. So I said I'm not looking that gift horse in the mouth. We're just going to take it. We got the break that we wanted. It dipped back into prior support, and it made the move. We got the $0.50, then we got the 212 level. So just keep it on point. If that's as far as it goes, great. If it goes further, maybe there's one last consolidation, or possibly we'll get like a close trade or something like that. Like 350 hits. I mean, I guess in either direction this could happen. But if 350 hits, there's such a big move in the afternoon to the downside that a buy imbalance on one of these names could really have some kind of crazy relief action. Well, I'm out. We got right into the zone on Tesla, and then we're just going to jump out of the trade. I'm still in Alibaba. It's not really doing a heck of a lot. It was a flat bottom break, but it's a Chinese ADR. So, it broke here, went to resistance, never really did anything. It's trending to the downside, but it's not flying to the downside. And that's because we know in the afternoon there's usually less volatility in some of the Chinese names. It doesn't mean you can't trade them. It's just that sometimes the moves don't go as much as you're expecting. Earlier in the day, I feel like if you lose that bottom, you probably drop a buck. In this case, you have like a 25, 30-cent move on Alibaba. And Baba's having a bad day, but reminder that Pinduoduo is knocking it out of the park. PDD might take that 100 tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Pinduoduo is having a good day today, and I don't want to ignore this, because anytime you have a chart that looks like this, I'm always interested when you try to fill a portion of that gap. And this on the first day, it was $102 that was resistance. On the second day after earnings, it was $102 that was resistance. If this thing can get back and break out 102, that's the kind of long I want. Not to say it'll fill in the gap to $140. Obviously, that's not going to happen when you day trade it. But if it does, $3, $4, $5, that could be fantastic. So good day for PDD. You want to find stocks that were strong on a day like today, because then when you come in tomorrow, they might provide you with a good opportunity for some continuation where you're not fighting what happened here today, and then every chart's going to look relatively weak, obviously.
Yeah, we're getting to that stop out point here on Nvidia as it just keeps on getting lower and lower and lower. I mean, honestly, there it goes. It's pretty depressing that this name just keeps on going to the downside. We took a shot there again. I'm still holding 75. I mean, what if this just breaks? Again, so it looks like the short would have been fine. Like you go back and forth with it all the time, and it's just like whatever. But here comes 108 again. I held on to a little piece of this just in case that break wasn't for real, but it looks like it was. So we cleaned that out there once it broke 39 or break 40. We got out 30, probably 39s. Here it comes back in, man. It's going to break that 108. That is the bottom of the day, and then we have to wait to see what winds up happening here, as we mentioned, into that 107.40, whatever that was area. Justin said 107.43, but I think it was 107.50 or so.
Well, I said 43 is what I did for 10% exactly.
Right, is that rough area. Yeah. So, okay, so we can have a quick
within
look.
a penny or...
Yeah, we can have a quick look at that. I'm just going to get out now and just say, okay, let's just wait. Like, I'll probably, like, if we just break that, then I'll be like, okay. I don't know. Now it feels like you want to go long there. Yeah, I like, thank you, Franco there. Franco really likes when I have dollar winners. Yeah, me too. That is nice. Everyone likes when we hit that dollar club, but today, I mean, it would be, I don't think I've lost $1, but I've lost more than that, obviously, here, if you add it all up. But we're kind of just like death by like million cuts kind of thing here on Nvidia, and it's just kind of not working out, the longs. The longs have not come back in. It's been just like fade everything. And even that TQQ idea that we had was pretty, we've left, I mean, again, we've learned our lesson. We left this one alone. But we wrote down here breaking 66 would be something to look at, 62. And we wrote that down when it was up here at 68. So that continues to work out. But right there for the short, I mean, do you buy these bottoms? I mean, this is what we're dealing with right now again. So So far, so good here on the TQs holding the bottom, but it's about to break right now. Nvidia also kind of the same thing right now. So yeah, down to 108. Let's see if it holds.
Coin just broke 170. Shout out to, I mean, it's Jason in the chat that just pointed that out. And Coinbase down 7.5%. It all looks like this. So I don't think Coinbase is somewhat special in what's happening here. But the bleed, just, I got to show you guys, like the NASDAQ on an hourly chart, there hasn't been a green candle for the entire day today on the NQ. The ES at least tried a couple of times on the hourly to have a green candle. And then I'm looking over, like the VIX is up at 20. I know 20 is not a big deal, right? Like VIX, wake me up when the VIX is over 30 is usually what people like to say in terms of panic. But it's been straight to the upside on volatility. Bitcoin just tried to hold 58. Actually, no, it's back to 58,000. It's actually holding 58,000 really, really closely. But it just tried to break out the top and pulled back in. There's not a lot that looks really bullish in this moment. And I think when that's happening, wow, look at the flat bottom break that's happening on Coinbase too. Coinbase could test the August 5th low, which is $161. Like that's a reasonable test tomorrow. And that's why be very, very particular, at least attempt to, if you can, with those trades. Just checking back. Tesla's trying to make another higher low. At least it's not when the market is at the lows. It's making some higher lows in here. I tend to think I'd prefer it breaking tops like last time, like make the consolidation, go straight up, break out that top, and then take this one as well for like 212.5. Confirm the strength for me so I'm not buying a dip or buying it on some weakness. I think that can be the trap. Like get it off of that strength and you'll look a heck of a lot better. Alex just said that Apple is holding up. Someone's buying. Maybe buybacks are propping it up. And the scary thing about that, Alex, remember the last 10 minutes of the day, guess what companies can't do? They can't buy back their own stock. So if you think that buybacks are what are propping up something like an Apple in front of a 222, then it gets very scary in the last 10 minutes of the day if we see any sell imbalances, because all of a sudden you're not going to have their algos on the bid trying to hold it up. Apple's levels, Apple's holding the 50-period moving average on the daily. That's about the only thing that makes any sense to me there. In terms of making a bottom. There's nothing significant about 222. Easy peasy. I thought I saw the VIX at just 20 now. You're saying 19. But either way, volatility's at the highs. I mean, here goes the market's at the lows.
And Nvidia, I'm going to try to take this bottom out on Nvidia. Like, I'm not going to take it out. It's going to go itself. But, and then maybe, yeah, 108. Like, I mean, it just wicked up to there, 108.50. I mean, to hold this back 50 cents, maybe to get 50 cents. I mean, that 107.40 area for that bounce. I mean, what if that area is the bounce area, but there's no bounce? People will be caught. And then, I mean, I agree. Sometimes we don't think enough about that no buyback, situation there that can happen for the end of the day. So, yeah, it's been a pretty red day here trying to chase some of these names. But, that's Sharif said something like, I forget what it was before about, this is a very risky, like you're here to trade. And sometimes these days just don't work out and they just continue to go down when you're expecting some kind of a flush to stop. It doesn't look like that wants to do it right now. NASDAQ down -3% without even the imbalances through yet. I mean, we just bounced off 108, but has it bounced 20 cents? Like, I'm just trying to think to myself, like, if it bounces now at 108, that'll be tragic. Not tragic, but
just doesn't want to get to that.
Yeah, like we tried to buy pretty much every level here. We bought 108.50s once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Each time does not work. So, all right, we'll try to go short. First area to try to cover, if we get the short, would be that 107.50. Honestly, or we'll go probably 107.60. Let's go a little bit ahead of that if it does break down. So that's 40 cents. And that's pretty good ratio. I mean, we just touched out at 109.40. That little wick there is 50. These tops are 31s, 32s. Feel like that risk is well appropriate. Let's see if it comes to the downside right now. Here goes Nvidia. Sort of hands off this. Let's just get punched in, and we have our targets to the downside. We may miss. I'm only crossed down 10 cents. So are people getting liquidated here? I think we'll find out very soon.
You know what? I tend to think that like this far down late in the day,
people are already liquidated?
Yeah.
Then we should go long. That's the whole thing.
That's the problem. That's exactly the problem is like usually are you really getting big stop outs at 3:30 at the end of the day. And I always come back to not usually. That's just not usually how it works. So it's an easy way to talk yourself out of that kind of thing. But then I also said I would short the first available pop in Intel. Just to remind everybody, it hasn't done anything but just more and more slowly grind to the downside. It just hasn't happened. It's not really letting you in. If this breaks $20, I'm not shorting $19.99 in Intel. That's way too big of an obvious level where I think you can fail. But as long as we have time to 350, if there is a move up, this is one that I wanted. I'm trying to look. I thought AMD was like super weak. Like maybe that's one for a short. Look how steady this is. This is your chance to get in. You know, when I'm looking at Amazon above VWAP, or you know the names that we were trying to trade. I mean, I was also trying to trade Tesla a little bit there. Thankfully,
AMD.
that one worked. And in the chat, I was basically just saying in the chat, like for every one good long I had, or sorry, every one good short I had today, I had a bad long, and then a couple of extra. And that's the thing. Just not enough shorts. AMD, you just had to hold it. But the way I like to trade, there was like, where's the re-entry into it? Like you had some obvious ones early, and then it just was not easy to find your way in. Look at that bleed. That is linear. It is controlled. Like there's nothing out of control about the way AMD is going down the last 4% of this move. But it is going down and further and further and further.
I mean, Nvidia broke, we're short. I mean, honestly, like, wow, we're in the money 20 cents or not even anymore. Like, let's see what happens. Back and forth here. Like, I lowered my shares on this because it's like, okay, I'm going to go short at 335 at the bottom of the day. You know, like every bottom though has been broken so far. So I you know, if this one goes, we've lowered our shares. We're going to see if we can get that bid down there at 107.50. So a take of, and here it comes right back up, maybe there it goes, right? Like 108.50 maybe. We did cross down and get that. I mean, it's a fine print. We get basically the max pain level. We got 107.90. It only went down. I mean, what is the, of course, our thing says 106 there as the low, which it's not. 77's basically the low there. It looks like it hit it twice or so. Maybe that's the same candle, but 107 and change there, 107.77, the low on that one. We're not super stressed out about this position. We were going to take more shares, but you know, just looking at it, let's get short, hoping that there's some kind of a reaction here. Like that's the idea. And if there's no reaction, there's no reaction. Honestly, we have our stop out areas and we're comfortable with them. So we'll put another bid there at the low of 80 or whatever that was. Hopefully we get one more flush for Nvidia. And if this is where it wants to hold, then honestly, man, just pour me a scotch or something. Because at the end of the day, you know, we'll tip our hats to Nvidia, which just goes, yeah. We had at our friend's house, I was trying to scam into some Macallan 15.
Oh, you're not telling the whole story. We did our fantasy football draft on Sunday.
Yes, we did.
And the buddy whose house he did it, the guy, he's not really much of a drinker. Like, so all of the good stuff in his house, he has no idea what he has. His wife just gets it all. So he essentially just only had 2 bottles of scotch, right? I think it was a Black Label.
Yep.
And there was a Macallan 15. And so Sean, being gracious and actually a nice person, asked him, which one should we open? To which he's like, I have no idea. We're just like, oh my goodness. Okay, so you have the $500 bottle.
The lesser one.
We opened the lesser one because
it was a good idea. That bottle was polished off.
Yeah, we crushed it.
Yeah, you guys might need to see somebody. I mean,
obviously his wife had bought the Macallan for a special thing, and if we had opened it, that would have been the last time the draft would have been
I think the story is that he gets bottles given to him a lot, right? Like.
That's not his. That's
I think someone gave that.
I think it's hers.
Hers? Is she a drinker? I have no idea. I guess if you're married to him, you're a drinker. Oh, send that to him.
No. I respect anybody. Like, whatever. No one has to drink alcohol. I respect it sometimes. We busted
I rarely drink, man. I don't even.
But I'll throw it. Here's the problem with this dude's situation is, you know what? If you don't enjoy a good drink every now and then, and your 2 quarterbacks in a 2 QB league happen to be Baker Mayfield and Bryce Young, you're gonna be drinking by the end of the season, bro.
Yeah, he needs.
That's for sure.
He needs to get the cheap stuff for that.
You need all the drinks.
Yeah, he needs to get the cheap stuff.
It's all right. I'm gonna take a shot. Like Intel just keeps breaking lower, and I keep thinking I'm shorting the pops, so I'm just gonna short it into $20. And if it breaks back above this local bottom that just got taken out, was the 15s, so be it. The stock just keeps bleeding to the downside. Just did this candle down, and everything has looked pretty nasty the entire day. Maybe this is where we make a bottom. I want to acknowledge ARM just had one of the bigger moves to the downside, breaking some lows. And I looked over like, well, do I like ARM as it's breaking to the downside? And then I remembered 122. So ARM is a no because 122 was a big, big deal for this stock. Just look at it down here, 28, 29 at the end of the month. Clearly, that's more of a bounce zone for ARM. And it's just a different looking chart than Intel. It's above the 200 period moving average. People actually want to own it, even though it's ridiculously overvalued. Intel looks like that. So let's see if it gets down into 20 even. If it gets to 20 even, then that'll be at 1-to-1. I'm just going to sit there at 1s and 2s. And if we get it, we get it. If it breaks 15s, I'm jumping out. Bobble's not doing anything. Hertz Scrambler just said Lilly down. What isn't down today? Yeah, Eli Lilly, low of the day. Surprise.
Yeah.
On a day like
really
today,
caught on this.
everything is just bleeding. And you know what? They were having a good morning at the market. And I said this a few times. When you can have strong relative names, but at some point when the market does 3% down on the NASDAQ and 2.25% on the ES, and every sector's taking it in the and PPI data, like it wasn't that bad, you're going to have bleed in a lot of places that you haven't seen it. And the CMG's down. Walmart, which had been pretty strong, Walmart just broke the lows of the day. It doesn't matter. You're not hiding anywhere today for the longs. There's just been no place to go unless Rolati just said VZ's not bleeding. Verizon? Okay, maybe you can hide into Verizon. Verizon's at the high of the day for reasons unknown.
So here's the picture right here. So this is our draft. So you can see here. I guess we all like blue jerseys, as you can see here.
Well,
I'm wearing the Calvin. You've got the Bills.
Why aren't you in a Packers jersey?
I could have worn I always wear Packers.
You don't even have any Detroit guys.
Well, you know why? Because Marvin Harrison. So I wanted to take Megatron, like the nether elite wide receiver.
I got you. It makes sense.
You see what I'm saying?
Because he had the third pick. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, this is our crew here. He's got the scotch. He's got the scotch right there. There's some scotch right there, as you can see. So yeah, that's it. That's it, man.
Shout out to the butler.
We've all been friends for a very, very long time. This is all from Brampton, et cetera, et cetera. As you can see, here's the butler.
There's the butler. So if you finish last in our pool, you have to...
He did a cold plunge.
Oh, he did a cold plunge. That's right.
Right. He did the cold plunge.
Yo, he took that like a champion.
But I thought people like cold plunge.
No, he did the cold plunge like a champ. Straight up. I think so. I mean,
he did it.
He had to do 3 minutes.
I said I'm not
cold
doing
plunge.
it unless there's the doctors in the building.
I'm not.
There was.
Well,
there was a doctor.
If you've never done a cold plunge, essentially it's just like a crazy ice bath. If you've never done it before, it is very, very shocking to the system.
Those are high school friends, correct?
Yeah.
We've been in this pool for 20 years.
Isn't that long?
We've been at. I think it's been longer.
I guess it was because right after we got out of university, we probably started a couple of years in.
We'll find out how long that's been. It's been a minute. Okay, so here we go. Let's go finally. Money. Hate you, Nvidia. I hate you with. No, actually, I really like you. I mean, the returns on Nvidia have been nice for the longer term portfolio, but for today, it's been downside movement there in the portfolio or in the day's net right there. But we'll finally go pat ourselves on the back there because we do get a chicken dinner winner for everybody on that short. So right now, it's not even like it's huge, but finally we're able to hold it. We did punch 108 short. We did average it back in. Our stop is now up at 108.50, where the 50 period moving average is. And I don't, honestly, man, we're coming into these imbalances. With my luck, NVIDIA's been a sell for a very, very long time, but I just feel like for today, and you should never speak negatively. I never know what's going to happen, but wouldn't it be just fantastic if it comes a sell imbalance? We may be out of this by then. I mean, if it breaks that level, we are out. But if it comes a sell imbalance, oh my. So anybody has some sort of insight on that would be nice. But for right now, downside doesn't look aplenty here. We have MGA's a bid. My Lumen Technologies there, a sell. I'm trying to see if there's any like tech names on here. I mean, Nike's a small little bid right here. We can see what's happening. Ooh, I sold Nike last week. Oh, obviously everything's down, so it doesn't
Every
matter.
sell last week.
Any sell last week is a good one. All right, new was there. That was a great bid last week. We sort of talked about that one as the NYSE comes down now today, down 0.74. Looks like there's going to be a small sell imbalance on Oh no, sorry, it's a buy because that's from 930. That's the most recent one there. A bid. I don't really see any tech names on here, so we're sort of flying blind a little bit here with, see, there goes NVIDIA right back up. So we took some out there for sure on the downside. And yeah, we did spin the money because we were starting to capture some profits down there. So let's see if Nvidia continues the heart attack mode and waits for those imbalances. I'm getting the feeling that these imbalances might be buys.
The logical thing when you have an extreme move like this would be like some buying dips and short covering into the auction. If you were just like, we lean on it all day long, put it into the, you throw it into the auction. And that's where you have liquidity. Like there hasn't been much reason to get out of short. Like look at the chart of Intel. I just happen to be on Intel, but it doesn't matter. I can show you, I'm looking up, I'm seeing the same thing on every one of the charts I'm looking at right now. Like this is Tesla's chart today. Like when have they lost control? So if it does break out, I got a 15 stop that I'm going to tighten up to probably 12 or 13 on Intel. It just tagged 2004 and couldn't break any lower. Tesla, thank goodness. I mean, Tesla was looking strong. Remember, like Tesla was breaking out, went 11 to 12, held that 2050, and next thing you know, you're right back at the low of the day. It's been a short to pop situation. Like even if you've been right long, you've been wrong because it's just been a better short. That's the way I like to think about today. Shaggy 937, Nvidia did not go SSR. That was 104. It never hit 10%. It's 107.43. So
which one? Oh.
And Nvidia has not gone. I don't think any of isn't a single name that I'm looking at that we trade that has gone short sell restricted today. It would have been Nvidia. That would have been the only one. I'm going to jump out of Alibaba because like all it gave you on this break was essentially a move into 82. Brief break of 82. I'm just going to get on the bid of 82 again because Chinese ADRs don't move that much, and we have 15 minutes to go in the day.
Yeah, I feel like that's the right thing to do. All right, so right here, let's go Nvidia. It just bled right down, and we'll say thank you very much and go bang on that one. Like we were starting to get in trouble a little bit there to the upside. We did not average back in, man. We've already talked about what our expectations are for this stock, and expectations or not, we have that 107.60, 50-ish area. I'm sure we can. Did you actually calculate, or that was a guess? Because someone in the chat could definitely.
No, I put it.
Oh, you did. Okay,
yeah.
So 107.50-ish.
Yeah, it's
43-ish. Okay, so we'll see as sort of a target zone there for Nvidia. We're short. We just got some more out as it dripped down in, and we have now half of this position. So even if it gets stopped out there at the 50 period, which we might have to adjust.
Might be worth looking at new. Anytime you have. Yep. Anytime you see, and if you weren't watching on Friday, this isn't going to make as much sense. Anytime you have a monster imbalance on a month end or index action, if it moves like a huge imbalance and it moves big, sometimes the next trading day you might see an imbalance as well. So I just got out of BABA. Intel just tagged 20 even again, so it's trying to break lower. But NU did that big imbalance. Sometimes you'll see the other direction. Like it was a big buy on Friday, like maybe you see a big sell come in, and it might be tradable at 350. So I'm going to have Nvidia and NU as the names I'm looking at 350 when the imbalances drop. If there happens to be like a relief sell on this thing, as is what it did on Friday. Like it was a big buy and balance, I think like 90 million, 85 to 90 million, something in that range, which is huge. And that's the move it made. Did a 2% move to the upside. Oh, well, top to, I mean, if you got it right away, almost a 2%.
We're starting to go, Neil. There it is right there. So we are, I mean, you're dead on right now. Obviously, you've calculated it, so good look on that one. Here we go. Let's go. Spin it, spin it, spin it. Bang, 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 bang right now for Nvidia. There's the target. Oh, man. All right.
It is now 10%.
Now it is. So there it is. Yeah, so 107.40, you're exactly right. So there it is, a nice little bounce. Let's get another piece out. Boom, 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 boom. That's exactly what we're talking about. You guys were wondering about this. When would this come through? And there it is, man. Your boy is now back finally where he belongs, into a short position. For the first time, we do not get that stubborn. We just took some out there in the 30s. Again, when this name fell down, that was the look that we're looking for. Flush down on Nvidia before the imbalances. We get it. Now we could see that bounce back, right? I'm going to take another piece out of, I just tried to get 57s, did not get it. Nice little bounce back. There is the SSR bounce. So what that means is now you cannot hit the bid. So you now have to only get short off the ask, meaning that someone's got to run the stock into you. And if there's no buyers, then yeah, you're going to, there we go. Oh, what just happened there? All right, well, I feel like this is what's happening. Did you get long down there? Because I was just covering. That was a good one.
It's 348. If it was 330, it's not in front of 350. Not in front of 350.
Okay, so this is for Kyle. Right there, the gates of hell opens up. Thank you for the $10 there, big Kyle Burdett. But yeah, okay, so that happened. We got filled. I mean, our best fill down there on Nvidia. Yeah, 32. So I don't know how low it got, but we were sitting there ahead of 25s. That's a 32 print. feel like that might have been the low.
29.
Right. So boom. Oh, good.
Basically.
Good on.
Jesse Barfield to Magic Johnson.
I don't know. We're short at 95. I don't think any Blue Jay was number 95. But here's about maybe.
There always is.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Maybe
minor
like a
league.
wild. Oh, minor leaguer. Yeah, okay. But there it comes in right now. Good bounce back. I feel like we nailed this stock twice, man. I mean, we called this potential bounce for SSR, and we also called that it would go SSR. So that was good outs, man. I mean, we knew that was going to flush. Good outs there at the 30 level. We still have a piece of this. I'm fine with it. But these imbalances coming out, we never want to be too involved when there are these imbalances. So I'll put another piece down, like in the 60s, in case that is a sell imbalance. We'll take some more pieces out on the way down, but so far so good there. We still have a target to get out if it does start to rip. 108.50s right there as our out, the 50-period moving average. But here we go with only 30 seconds left. Yeah, it looks like it might be a buy.
If it's a buy and balance, I might go for a long here in Nvidia.
I think that would make sense. So we're starting to slowly get out of that one, but there it is, man. I don't know, guys. Anybody that's saying
Sometimes you got to switch it up, right? Flip it up.
Well, flip it up
and reverse it.
Just that's for sure.
What the heck does she say in the next line?
It's backwards what she says.
I know, and I always forget what it actually.
All right, here we go. Coming out right now are these imbalances. We'll have a quick look. I'm just going to see activated. Only have the NASDAQ ones out now. We'll see. God, Apple's a huge buy. Apple's Nvidia's a huge buy as well. 5 million to buy. So. You know it's not your day. Like that goes the other way. We get 30 cents lower. But here goes Nvidia. We're still fine. We're still at that level, 108.50. If it takes it, it takes it. That'll just sort of wrap up.
And it instantly goes down.
Yeah, but did it really?
So it broke the local high. Yeah, I'm not fighting that one. If it was closer to 107.5, I think that's good. But remember what I say about these. If you go long, you're getting the algo top, so you got to be careful with it because you're not getting the bottom on an imbalance move. So I went for it to break. It tried to break, but if it doesn't hold, I got to get out of that. You're not getting it down here. You're getting it up there. I mean, I'm just talking about the entry point that I'm going to grab. And it was a buy imbalance of like 4 million. It's already pared down to 1.2. So when I see that, it's like, no, forget it. 1.2 million is nothing. It was 4 million right away, instantly pared down to 1. That's a reason to get out. 1 million is nothing on Nvidia. 4, 5, 6 million is going to matter, but not that small number on Nvidia. Intel's a buy and balance, but 2 million shares on Intel. It's a $20 stock. Apple's a big one. 2 million shares to buy on Apple. And then AVGO, Broadcom, 1.3 to buy on Broadcom. So those are the two with, I think, decent size imbalances. A bit of a surprise. Broadcom's at the low of the day, like all the other chip names. Apple is holding on to 222. Oh, wow, this one at 221?
Apple
went to 221. Now it's pulled back $1 here. But yeah, wow. There's some prices that we didn't think we'd see.
I feel comfortable with 221.
Well, compared to everything else, Apple's above the 50 period on the daily.
We just got 87s.
It's a heck of a lot better than a lot of other stocks right now.
All right, we just got 87s on it. Yeah.
Easily.
All right, so there it is. There's 87s again. If you don't believe me, we just got it. All right, so we'll wait to see now what's happening over here. Just a quick look if there was some new holding size coming through. There is not. We have Intel, Apple. We already talked about some of those coming through. Microsoft, wow, 1 million bid. Adara normally puts it in there. There it is there. So it's 3.2 billion to buy. NASDAQ is over 2 billion. Mag 7 about a milli. So yeah, Microsoft trying to get that bounce side as well. And you can see sort of the action, right? I mean, if you're short, you're cruising here. You're like, oh yeah, we're finally short. And then those imbalances come up and it washes about $1.50 to the upside. So you got it. There's Nvidia now. Now Nvidia is a sell, but you're not. I'm surprised that it's going up, but there it is right there. Sell. So at 355, maybe we'll get it flipped up again. But we've just been taking some out. So I don't know if you can. I mean, obviously you can see all these ticks here. Let's just give it a minute, man. Maybe this name does continue to get lower and lower. Nvidia right now trying to make that bottom go. Oops, my AirPods just disconnected.
Dun, dun, dun. Every now and then. They're still more reliable than the ones we had before.
Oh, no, I think they might have ran out of batteries, actually. So.
Got to get that juice back. It's been a long day. Someone's buying ARM into the close, Junior Sun. Someone's buying a lot of things. Even Alibaba just popped now. But ARM catches a bid. There's that 122 on ARM. Somebody likes $122 on ARM. Don't take my word for it. 122 on ARM last week. That was the bottom. There was one wick underneath in the aftermarket on, if you can't figure out, remember when Nvidia reported? Yeah, that's the only time it broke 122. So to me, that doesn't even count. It was the aftermarket, and it was during big earnings. But 122 on arm down 7%, and it goes right there on a dime or 2 pennies actually, 122.02. So this is a level to watch tomorrow. Didn't trade any arm today, but 122 looks like a good one tomorrow. I did get out. Intel held $20 because it's $20. Actually, it ticked $19.99 to be technical, but it's holding on to $20 for dear life. And if you haven't noticed, Intel also failed its post-earnings resistance level. It was trying to break it out on Friday, failed that again today. So a retest of the lows would be logical. The next bottom is 19.5, and then the absolute low is like 18.85. If we don't get above $20, to me, that's where those are the places that you're headed to. But I'm not trading this one unless something drastic happens at 355. I'm going to get out of Dodge. Try to stay away from anything when nothing is really setting up at the close. I wanted NU to have something, but there wasn't an imbalance on new. And then Nvidia just did not have a big buy imbalance. It was 4 instantly paired to 1. And now all of a sudden, I think it's actually even a sell imbalance. So no trade for Nvidia in the last 5 minutes, but we'll let you guys know what happens. O'Reilly's moving around. All right, B. Riley's making a move again into the close.
Be aware of B. Riley.
But this stock, I don't know what made, like there was a go take private offer for $7 by I believe the chairman, and now the stock trades at $5, and now it's going up on some more rumors. So this one always moving around on some deal rumors, B. Riley, but it did just spike 10% and looks like it's going to close at some highs. No trade though.
I mean, Nvidia with a decent sell there, but all we did was get 90 bids. So we'll take 93 bids now. We're just getting these out for flat. I mean, they're small wins, but honestly, on a day like today, who really cares? We're going to get out at 108.30 if it breaks that. Well, now we would put at 108.40. I thought that this, this move, we have over 40 million, 30 million. The print's going to be now 35 million right there to sell on Nvidia. So it's going to be a big boy print that comes through. I'm actually surprised this name is not falling
30.
Even
that's
more
a huge
right now. So there's a big sell imbalance coming maybe for it, but this probably flips up over to a bid. So we're being a little stubborn trying to hold on this, but we don't have that many shares left. Would like to see this come back in to the
just
downside.
went to 1.6. No, it's back. It's
it's not. I'm not really worried about it. I'll get punched out where I get punched out. There's only 4 minutes to go. We're going to give this up to 108.30s break. That's the 50 period. We've been fine. We're out of a lot of it now. So if it goes down, we'll make a little bit. But if it doesn't, we'll lose a little bit. And that's been fine for us this afternoon. So we'll be red in the afternoon, I guess, primarily because of Nvidia, I guess. What else did we didn't really trade anything else, right? We didn't trade the Qs. 61.50. Okay. That's going to be a level there. We'll have to look at that tomorrow. We didn't trade Palantir. Palantir down. Ooh, I just thought I saw Palantir down 9%. Of course, that was Nvidia. Palantir down to $30. That could be a level tomorrow. We didn't trade that this afternoon. And then we got in and out of Tesla real quick. So it's really just been the Nvidia show for me here. And not much. We shorted there. We shorted that break. We tried to go long. Everything was fine. So yeah, net, man, it's going to be a pretty flat afternoon for us, despite it was really right into here as soon as 2 o'clock hit. It's these trades at 109 that we wound up losing on when it broke 108.50, and we battled with 108.50. I feel like tomorrow this stock is going to be a lot higher. We don't hold after market, so we have to be flat at roughly 4 o'clock, 4:05-ish every single day. So we'll have to wait to see where this name eventually prints. But hands off for now. I have lower bids, but they're obviously not going to fill.
Before we go into the close here, I think we have a Dara at the desk up for some news.
Nice volume push here for ADM. Archer Daniels Midland getting its second largest candle of the day here on the 3-minute chart as we head into the close. New CFO here, Manish Padawala, saying that he's been touring some of these locations and meeting with employees. This is at the Barclays conference. Archer Daniels Midland has been a little bit embattled as of late with various accounting issues here. So new CFO making some comments here, apparently well received by the market as we get a bit of a volume move into the close, guys.
There you go. Where's Alfred? And he loves the Archer Daniels meeting. That Midland, that's Sharif's good friend, Alfred, the value investor. So I wonder if he still likes the value in that name. If you're a value investor, days like today, you're probably just like gobbling up anything that's at a price that you like, that you think is a good value.
For long term,
although when the ES is so close to the highs, are there going to be that many values up here? You can always find something. I don't know how many there might be on like a PE basis. So only 2 minutes to go. Sorry, less than 2 minutes to go. I can tell you that Nvidia is still a sell at 2.4 million. So you're still a sell imbalance. It's just not moving. It's going sideways off the 108 level. A lot of things did bounce. Like Intel bounced up to 2015. Even Alibaba got a little bit of a bounce there. I'm looking at Tesla. Tesla got off a 209.5. It broke 210, 209.5 to get back into 211. Well, that's not bad. And then Apple was the one that was a buy and bounce, held on to 221. This looks relatively strong here at the close, bouncing like $1.50. Back into the afternoon resistance levels for Apple with just 1 minute to go. It's been a wild day today and a wild start to a holiday shortened week. We had a lot of economic data this week. We got Broadcom earnings. You're going to have Zscaler tonight. Make sure you tune into the Aftermarket show because it's not just the earnings you'll get to, but Sean's going to have Brian Shannon on.
Yes.
So remember, it's Tuesday today, so it's Brian Shannon today.
That's right.
You want to make sure you tune in for that. I at least did not say that it was Monday in the afternoon show. I did it like 3 times this morning, but I managed to not make that mistake in the afternoon. So not a bad close for something like Apple here. Still down 3%.
How long?
Like Apple just gave you like almost a 1% bounce, and it's still down 3 points here. Intel, you can say whatever you want about there being buying at the end of the day. On very good volume, biggest candle since the open, it did go green, but that's not the story of the day for Intel. Intel down 9%. Which is saying something when you're already down as much as it had been. Let's get this countdown on for Tuesday. Adara, here we go in 4, this is wrong, 3, 2, and 1. Ring it now. And now the market is closed.
And now it's closed.
And where are we at here? 3.12% to the downside on the NASDAQ. 2% on the ES. I guess that's not really all that bad. I should have been on. Where did Nvidia end up closing? Looks like 107.
Yeah, we got a 91 there at the end. So
91?
Turned out to be okay.
Okay.
So, but at the end of the day, yeah, Nvidia just holds 108.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting spot tomorrow.
Well, remembered, it was down 10% today. That means Nvidia is short sell restricted tomorrow.
Oh, man.
And that makes it a little bit more wild. I can't remember the last time we said that. I mean, I remember like Tesla had a good day a while back when it had an SSR day, and the next day was a fantastic one. Don't forget to ask Brian about anchoring VWAP on days like today. So look, it's been an unbelievably wild day in the markets. There's no question about it. Volatility was through the roof. It didn't matter what you were looking at. Nothing could escape the bleed. We looked at the VIX breaking out of highs, and this can be a bit telling. I know you're not at crazy levels here. You need to get a lot higher. We were at 60 on that capitulation Monday or the manic Monday or whatever the heck you're calling it on the beginning of August. But you are creeping up. There's certainly that, as we had Justin Zaks from Mumu mention, you had the potential slowdown in China and oil prices going down. So you're getting it from all ends here. A name like Walmart couldn't even hold up on a day like today. Like a place where you've been able to hide so well. It's just been bleed to the downside. You had this breaking lows. Eli Lilly couldn't hold. Healthcare has been a good place sometimes to find some relative strength. So pretty much everything was nasty. Gatorman, you're not the first person to say Teladoc was strong. So you got me. You're going to make me look. And if Teladoc is in the dumps, like I would have suspected it would be on a day like today, no, Teladoc is very strong. A $7 stock, however. So congratulations to anybody that was long Teladoc off the bottom today. You got yourself a good move. Shout out to everyone in the chat in our community, but a big shout out to both Fabian and Ramin. But in the afternoon, Fabian on the ones and twos all by himself. Ramin had to take off. So shout out to you there. Big shout out to the midday crew, Dara and Sharif, locking it down with trends as the lesson of the day. Pretty apt today to have trends be your lesson of the day. And a big shout out to Brennan. Brennan's back. So he's back on the desk this morning enjoying that vacation. But you know what you got to do? Get it off my ugly mug. There he is. It's Brennan right behind me. Get it off my ugly mug. We got the aftermarket recap show. Lots to go over. And you've got Sean, and you've got Brian Shannon, you've got some Zscaler earnings, and a whole lot to cover. So get right to it.
At Gulp, what a day. I didn't even notice this. The MSOS, marijuana sector, upside today. So that's going to be one of the only ones that we're going to look at today. UNG also up. But boy, oh boy, was that a day today to not remember. I mean, Nvidia really started the day off. Thank you so much for everybody joining us here today as we watch out for this market and more downside plays into the rest of the day. We had USO. I mean, we're going to go over everything. USO down 4 today. Oil down 4%. OIH down. The oil handlers down. The semis down 7.6%. What was gold? Was gold spared at all? Gold down 0.4. That looks like it's okay. We will welcome Brian Shannon coming through very, very soon, okay? No recession. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be true or not, says Justin there in the chat. But the NASDAQ themselves today get hit. When was the last time we saw the NASDAQ down 3%? Well, guess what? I don't know if that's today, was down 2.96. Yeah, Ackman always does that, man. So I guess it's not going to end the day down 3%, but I'm not sure where it was exactly at 4 o'clock. But down 3% today goes the NASDAQ. And it's an ugly candle for sure. We started off September not properly. Obviously, a nice little downside move. If and when I log into Twitter, I'll be able to show you some things that I had tweeted out today, especially noticing that, hey, September is always the week. Well, the start of September, and I'm going to show you in a second, has been the weakest start to any month. And that does happen again today with the NASDAQ pushing to the downside. SPY, again, down 1.99. Well, you might say, okay, well, a lot of that, there's some big equal weighted parties here like Nvidia and Microsoft and Apple that started this move to the downside. So let's look at the equal weights, right? Well, the RSP today does better. There's no doubt about that. Hold on a second. I just got to log into my Twitter here and probably did it wrong. Right there, we did it right. It's going to come in a second. The equal weight down 1.3%. So that's not as bad. Hold on a second. I just got to get this going. 629. Right there. Okay, we are now logged into Twitter. We'll have to show you some interesting things coming out in a minute. KRE down. Hey, you know what's been great? There's that KRE little break level. That's funny that never disappears. XLF. We talked about what goes up potentially coming down, but not really today, man. Nice move to the downside there for XLF, but really held out. Only 0.57 there into the downside. So nice little break side down. All right, this is what I wanted to show you here. We tweeted this out. The S&P 500, maybe I can zoom in just a little. Zoom in just a little bit more here. So this is the first day of the month. It drops 1+% since 1953. So as you can see here, September by far the biggest day, the biggest first day of the month to drop more than 1%. It's happened 14 times since 1953. And obviously we can see that that's hit one more time there today. So that's pretty interesting. And then also we will talk about Bitcoin as well. But if you're going to be over here in the crypto side of things, Bitcoin September, again, total monthly returns. And I stole this from somebody, so I didn't build this, but total monthly returns for Bitcoin, you could see right here. Month of August, right there. Sorry, month of August, minus 6.4 median, but average 0.24 up, 4.78 to the minus. No other months. The only other negative month for Bitcoin has been June, down 0.35. So September, a huge outlier there for BTC. And you can see there today, not sparred at all, Bitcoin trading to the downside. Let's just refresh this on Binance and get a quick little look here to see where Bitcoin is right now. No, I do not want to log in. 58. So Bitcoin has a move to the downside there today, trying to hold out, but that move 56 and change for BTC coming into play. I just don't want to lose the screen if I do this. No, I do not. So we'll zoom back out there a little bit, trying to hold that bottom. It looks like we did have a nice little bounce up. This again on a daily chart there, obviously to start the year up to 73. And now look, we're trying to hold on to 57,000 now for BTC as that falls in again today. Let's get an exact look from IBIT. How much were we down today on IBIT? Okay, so only down 1%. Actually, that's pretty reasonable there. We are looking at Bitcoin. The name to look at would have been Coinbase as Coinbase continued its plunge down. We looked at a 178 break, and we said if it breaks that 180 mark, we would be in trouble, and that's exactly right there for a Coinbase. Now well under the 200 period moving average, and it just hit that last week. So 199 downside move for Coinbase. There's a lot of traders that have been talking nice about Bitcoin. I know our friend there that's going to be joining us in just a minute, Brian Shannon, talked about Bitcoin, talked about Ethereum. We can get his opinion on that again as well, but looks to be losing the top there, Bitcoin. Mara, unfortunately, has technical issues as it does not the company, but the stock there does not break above, and now you get that cross between the 200 and the 50. Nice downside push there for Mara, but you're getting into a level again where maybe you buy these dips on Mara. We'll look out for below on this one, 28% short float for MARA. All right, this segment is brought to you by Mumu. You can see it on the chat there, but I do want to talk about Benzinga because right there, GitLab reports right now, and GitLab is out. So let's have a quick look at GitLab right now. 15 cents beats that 10 cent to the high side there. Sales also beating. Zscaler there as well. 88 cents beats 69. Sales also beating. So let's have a quick look. Maybe this market wants to rally a bit right now. So let's go over there and check out Zscaler to see exactly what's happening. Let's switch over to the 1 minute chart. Downside for Zscaler, so we'll slap a fail on that one initially. Then the other one was GTLB, potentially bad guides, but GitLab, a nice move upside right now. That's nice to see right here. Okay, so here's Zscaler on the guide. So Zscaler's guide right now sees adjusted Q1 EPS of 62 to 63, revenues of 604 to 606, which we do not have the expected, but that must be a little lower right now for Zscaler. So there's the guide, trading lower following Q4 earnings. So Zscaler downside, GitLab, there's the adjusted. We'll wait to see what the forward look is on GitLab. But so far, not the greatest for Zscaler, but GitLab trying to get up to 48. Where does that look like for GTLB? You'd like to see it get above that 55 marker. Hopefully that can come through at some point as well. GitLab right now just back up to the 50-period moving average. So nice move there, but Zscaler going the other way. What you're looking for Zscaler, I guess, is to hold this 156. We're not there yet, though, guys. We're at 181. So Zscaler right now back to the downside there. We talked about this with Justin Zacks from Mumu, actually, where he mentioned Zscaler. Talk about some AI plays. We have Broadcom, Zscaler coming through again. Aren't these guys, custom computing programming services. So should be an AI play there as well. Into security, I believe a little bit, but Zscaler downside right there as well. Wow, Dr. Copper not saved at all today. Copper to the downside as well. There is a lot of blood in the streets today, and I'm not sure where it's going to stop. When Brian comes on, we'll ask him quickly about his thoughts regarding that. All right, so let's just review some other names here. We talked about a little bit about indexes, man. Marijuana, Donald Trump on, was it Saturday? I'm not sure. We had a long weekend there. Did talk nicely about getting Florida all fixed up. Doesn't want to see, the streets looking the way they are. Talking about getting some of these drugs, especially cannabis, approved and not at that Schedule 1 or whatever it is. Get it going there. Promise to do something about that. So you do get a nice move up there. XLP trying to hold out there again on consumer staples. Where did Tesla wind up today? That could have been a name that we looked at. 1.45 to the downside, but Tesla still holding out okay for now. But not much else spared at all. Real estate. Actually, I believe it was Brian that actually brought this to our attention as well. We can come over to the screen whenever you get a second. Yeah, man. Top side move for XLE right now, the real estate ETF. I also remember the XBI was the one that was also talked about. Look at this, failed breakout. Sometimes you can take the other side on failed breakouts. All right, Fabian, what I want to do now is maybe if you're doing something, just keep it on this screen here for a minute, and we'll talk about this real quickly. Tuesday marked a very rough day to the beginning of the month, man. The usual volatility that hit September definitely hit today. Look at the board today. Apple down 2.72%. Both major indices and the Russell selling throughout the day. Bitcoin, historically weak in September, held a little bit, but did break below that 60,000. Semiconductors, man, definitely on watch. That's this little area right now. Obviously being led by Nvidia, but look at Broadcom, AMD, both down 7 and 6% respectively. SMCI, again, downside as well. CEO addressed the company's recent troubles in a letter to the board. So we'll find out about SMCI downside. Qualcomm down 6. It's Boeing today, guys. Boeing not sparred. Down 7% plus on BA as that hits it out. Look at Walmart. What a surprise for Walmart as that continues to tick higher. $77 coming through for Walmart. Barely positive or just negative at 0.08. Procter down or up 1.74. That's nice to see that for Procter. Again, economic data releases today. Final PMI manufacturing print for August and ISM manufacturing as well. Stronger than expected manufacturing employment index. The technology sector severely underperformed and got hit to the downside. But Eli Lilly today holds up okay, only down 0.36. Names like Procter & Gamble, Coke, and Pepsi all help the consumer staple side of things get back there to the upside. So the stock heat map, a little red today, but there are pockets of strength, including some of the healthcare and consumer non-durables there hitting the market. So again, you do want to make sure that you are well diversified. I mean, sitting there in PepsiCo, Pepsi's kind of a good stock. We talk about the GLP-1s and what that's going to affect, but it looks like that might have been overblown down in there to 160 as PEP, Pepsi, tries to get back upside. And you would think Procter & Gamble would be one of the biggest names affected by GLP-1s and people sort of cutting out snack food. No. Nice upside move there for Procter. You know, the demise of some of these names, maybe well documented, but not well received, as it's a nice upside move there for Procter & Gamble. Yeah, Pepsi up nicely as well there today. So yeah, I mean, the crypto market definitely got hit a little bit today. Here's a little overview of crypto markets. Again, Binance Coin slightly up, Ethereum down 2.5%. I don't know how well you guys can see that. Banana Coin, TON, we talked about that a couple of times, some of these random names, but it's the big guys right there. Again, Bitcoin holding out pretty good, man. Bitcoin down 0.58, Ethereum 2.5, Solana down 1.38. So some of the crypto actually is pretty relatively healthy, I feel like. But again, if you're looking at IBIT right now, there it is, pushing off of the 200 period. Still trying to hold out there. Bitcoin looks like it wants to hold out. SMH. We talked about this with Justin from Moomoo today. Look, we've been doing this for a while, the recap show. And when we first talked about this with Chris Bretcher on, as the semis were sort of the new Dow Jones Industrial Transports, right? He had talked about always watching the Dow Transports. I said, what about SMH? This is what's going to lead the day, right? And that's been like that for a while. SMH now failing off the 50 and looking to go lower. This is the VanEck Semiconductor ETF. Of course, a lot of that held through with NVDA. So this is going to be a good time there. We have over 3,000 watching. We will call on Brian in a minute. If there are any specific questions, throw them in the chat for Brian. This is going to be a pretty volatile day. We'll ask him about individual names. I'm going to get his idea on the overall market in a couple minutes. But right now, I feel like there's going to be a lot of talk about semis. Get those in there. And Bears versus Bulls, please message me privately with any of the questions that are best deemed for Mr. Brian Shannon. We could get a gap down tomorrow, but that's not going to be just my opinion. Let's get it of Brian's right now with Trader Talk. Hey, there's Brian. Hey, what's going on, Brian? We just had an empty chair there. Do not buy the dip. Do not buy the dip, says Brian. Is that a shirt that you've recently had created, or is that one that you're pulling out of the closet today?
No, I had it recently created. We've got a whole merchandise page for Alpha Trends, all the only price pays and all that stuff. But 100% of the profits go towards planting trees. So I'm not making a penny off of it.
Great, perfect. Okay, so we'll get that retweeted out for you, Brian. So that's a great cause there. And of course, you can pick up the book, Anchored View Up as well. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Wow. All right, if we're not buying the dip, I guess we're selling the rips. I mean, is there going to be a rip? I lost way more money than I probably should have today trying to find bottoms. That was obviously incorrect. Anything standing out to you, Brian, why we should not be buying the dips? Give me a reason why. What's your strongest case here that the bear action continues?
Well, Sean, you know, we got hit pretty hard today, and a little bit of a bounce seems likely from this level. You spoke about the semiconductors, the SMH. That's right on the year-to-date anchor right now. So maybe we get a bounce, but I'm more inclined to wait for that bounce to roll over and take some short exposure, mainly because of the same thing I talk about all the time, and that is we're below a declining 5-day moving average. And if we're below a declining 5-day moving average, that's that orange line here on the right, then it's guilty until proven innocent. I'm not going to try to be the hero. I'm not going to try to buy it at the anchor off of the August 5th low. I'll look at that level and say that's a level of interest. Let's see if it finds any support. And there was none there. So sellers, you know, are making a strong case here for at least a little while to at the start of September.
The one question from Neil today. You want to make sure I asked you this because, again, it's an anchored view-up question. Nobody better to ask, obviously. After a volatile day like this, and you just sort of went over SMH, where can us sort of day traders or maybe people looking to play on some swings, if we're just going to look at the NASDAQ, and I think we can look at the triple Qs, if you don't mind, where is a reasonable space or spot to anchor the VWAP? Are we still looking at recent highs and recent lows? Where would you be putting this on the NASDAQ, the triple Qs, if we could lay down some anchors for some possible support and resistance areas.
Sure. We've got, so if we look at the daily chart, you can see we sliced down through the 20-day moving average today. And now when we're looking at the 30-minute time frame over here, we closed right at the end of the day, just on that anchor from the August 5th low. So that makes me think, Sean, that we might get a bounce in here tomorrow, that we could see a little bit of something that looks like this, and then maybe run into some supply at this prior support, and then, or lower high, lower low rather, and then begin to roll over. And if it fails there, then I think you'd be looking for, levels such as the year-to-date anchor, just the way the semiconductors did today. So there could be a quick, brutal sell-off out, and I'm hoping that we get a bounce first and then roll over to short somewhere along this level right here, and then with a stop just above there, and maybe we get a nice flush here in the next couple of days.
I can, this next little couple of days is going to be definitely an interesting one. I mean, most of the time we'll look back and we'll say, okay, where is some strength lying, right? I mean, we looked at some of the consumer staple names or consumer durables there with Procter & Gamble and Pepsi, names that had good earnings that continued to sort of look a little bit higher there. Last week we talked, I believe it was with you, and maybe I'm corrected here, and if not, let's go over the XBI. There was a biotech ETF that I thought was breaking out, and I still think it's a good little area to look at here. Biotech, again, obviously with the word tech in it, probably going to have a bad day today, but I don't mind this stock pulling back into the 50-period moving average. I like some of the components of this ETF. Any thoughts here about XBI on a little bit of a pullback, maybe by strength in names that are near highs?
XBI had, as you said, a great start to the day, and it looked like maybe it was going to get going above that recent high there from last week, but it immediately got stuffed, and that makes it a little difficult to trust in the near term. The phrase "from failed moves come fast moves," very similar to this breakout over here, and we saw that sell off. So we've got to be very careful that we trapped buyers there, that shorts got stopped out. Now it's looking like, as you said, perhaps the 50-day moving average, which is down at about 97. And that's approximately, Sean, the anchor off of the August 5th low, right in that general area. So what I'd like to see is for it to come down into that area, stabilize a little bit, and then once that it's going to need some time. It needs that 5-day moving average to flatten out. So there's no hurry there in these biotechs that I can see. And my favorite biotechs, TPTX, had some good news today. And that was by the rumor sell the news, I guess, because it got stuffed as well. So these are all just going to, once they do things like this, where they, seem like they're breaking out and they get shoved back in, you got to leave them alone for a little bit and let them, what am I trying to say, rebuild their charts and come back to a place of strength again.
I mean, I just found, if you come over to my screen here, Fabian, I just found this handsome gentleman that seems to be saying, do not buy the dip. And of course, this would be you. And we just talked about this declining 5 SMA. So thanks for going over that again. And here's the examples: SPY, SMH, Qs. Oh, and there's XBI. So there it goes right there. So we asked you, I think, the appropriate question on that one. All right, we're getting some questions in the chat now. I'm going to ask you one as well. You and I have gone back and forth a little bit about Bitcoin. I mean, feel comfortable to talk about if you have stronger opinions on Coinbase or Mara, IBIT, or the coin itself, or if you feel maybe Ethereum or anything, but you're right at the 200 period on IBIT. That's been an area where we've generally bought stock or different, I guess, asset classes that we thought were weak down at the 200 period moving average. If the NASDAQ rolls over, which it's obviously doing, I can't be too bullish on Bitcoin, but this could be a level there as well. Anything in the crypto space getting you excited right now?
I mean, all those stocks, Coinbase, Mara, CLSK, Riot, they're all broken. I'd say just stay away from them. They're below 20 and 50-day moving averages, which are declining. They're going to take a lot of time to heal here. There's just really, and Mara came right up to some prior support, got rejected. They're just looking ugly, Sean. And Bitcoin itself, it's in a slow, steady grind lower. If we look at that IBIT, I just don't see anything really compelling here for Bitcoin. It's one of those markets where I think you got to leave it alone for a while.
So this just in, I mean, we're all going to believe it because it's easy to do the math. But today, with Nvidia's move to the downside of over 10%, it is the single largest one-day loss market cap-wise of any company in the history of what we know to be the markets. Nvidia today lost over $280 billion.
Wow.
That is 4 Intels they lost today. So they just kicked that company out to the ground. And yeah, unbelievable. I mean, I think we can name many companies which don't even have market caps near what Nvidia lost today. But again, how the mighty have fallen. We've seen names like Meta, right, drop 70%. We've seen Netflix do the exact same thing. And today, from 142, the all-time highs in and around for Nvidia, coming back into 107, we do see 30+% to the downside today on Nvidia. Absolutely unreal. All right, how about energy, Brian? I mean, look, maybe we can hide somewhere or not. XLE trying to fade back in as well. This is a name that I've been buying on dips, have not bought anything today. I wonder if it's just hands off on all asset classes until we get a change in that declining 5-period SMA. I mean, this continues to go to the downside here, energy sector. Anything specific on energy that maybe you're looking at?
Yeah, we spoke about that last week, Sean,
Right.
and I told you that I was looking at BKR, Baker Hughes. And this was, of course, right here. I was hoping, that was 5 days ago, I was hoping we could exceed the prior day's high and take out the anchor from this gap up here. It didn't do that, so that one's broken. You look at XLE, and I always say I don't like to trade these energy names. I don't like commodity names in general. They're just, you look at this chart, and I just continue to see a giant mess. I mean, it's just way too choppy for me. So I say good luck to people who trade this stuff, but it's just not in my personality to see these kind of whipsaws.
Yeah, and that's what, you know what, we sort of said this the other day, like, or a couple weeks ago, and I think you and I talked about this, is trading names that obviously you're comfortable with and that fit your personality. But just the volatility, man, like when the VIX spiked to that 60 or 70 on August 5th, you knew that there was a chance that some of these bids would disappear if they ever sort of got excited. It's not, doesn't feel like a very healthy market, very, very fragile to me right here as well. So I've sort of bounced off a couple indexes to you. You've obviously gone over some of the questions that we've had there in the chat. Is there a name right now to the short side? Are you holding anything short heading into tomorrow? Are you sort of cleaned your slate here, waiting for more action? Anything you want to talk about moving forward? Just a couple minutes left.
Yeah, nothing too exciting, really, Sean. I mean, bonds reversed that little pattern of lower highs and lower lows today. So that was, that's where the only strength was really that I saw of any significance in a ETF large group. If today's low can hold, then maybe this market's going to start to make the turn back up again. It is longer term, still quite bullish when we look at the weekly time frame. We're above, the 100, 150, 200-day moving average, and I think that's where people are hiding out for now. Financials got hit a little bit. That big run might be starting to come to an end here. So I'd say lock in gains if you're in the financials, or know where you're going to lock in the gains. And even the metals were hit today. So it was pretty much across the board except for bonds.
Brian, I'm just on your website right now, and I want to make sure that everybody goes over there because you've already talked about the shirt you're wearing. It's right here. Who's this handsome gentleman? I need to take a stock photo like that, man. I mean, that's an absolutely great photo right there. Go check Brian Shannon. I mean, on all of these, there's his book right there. Find out where you can get the merchandise and make sure that you do that because, again, all funds or all proceeds will go into is it a specific organization or just you're going to go out there and start digging some holes and planting some trees?
No, it's a company called One Tree Planted, and for $1 they plant trees. And I figure, with all those books that you're helping me sell, Sean, that I've killed a lot of trees. So let's give back to the earth. Is
there an ebook available, or you didn't go that route yet, or?
No, there is. There is on Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
It's not on Amazon because for whatever different reasons, but it's available. If you look at my website, you'll see the various options there.
We'll figure it out one more time. All right, I can have one other question for you. We have DLTR. So Dollar Tree, we had Dollar General come out with a horrible report last week. DLTR, you might have to put like one of those 40-year VWAPs on this again. I'm not sure. But it is starting to go to the downside. And we do, Brian, have earnings tomorrow, September 4th. Wow, September 4th, eh? DLTR broken downside. I mean, we can go down to many different looks, but it's coming out to support here on a weekly, down to $78. I mean, this was $150 just back in March and cut in half almost down for DLTR. What say you about this name?
Well, we can do a 30-year anchor.
Maybe we should.
And that would get you down to about 41. So I don't think that's really reasonable. But from the place where it handed off, right over in here in 08,
okay,
then maybe we're still going to head down towards that 70 level. Momentum's clearly lower. It's not something I want to go looking near. And look how these rallies to the declining 50-day moving average have been just smushed.
It's so funny that, and I do this trading every single day, and we talked about, I finally went short Nvidia at the end of the day, which was finally good. It was long all day until the end. But it's like you look back, and it's like, oh man, it hit the 50, it hit the 50, it hit this, it hit that. That's part of not having FOMO, right? And we can look at hundreds of charts like I'm sure you do. There's so many good setups that we always miss, which makes a lot of sense to get razor focused on some trade ideas and make sure that you follow your plan, and no better plan than to pick up this book, Maximum Trading Gains with Anchored VWAP. Brian, thank you so much on such a crazy day to come in and talk all about these different indexes, give us some ideas, and tell us to stay away from Dollar Tree. More pain possible. And as I see, do not anybody buy this current dip until it's about that time. Go pick up those shirts. Thank you, Brian, so much. And promise you'll join me again next week.
You got it.
Thank you, Brian.
Anytime.
That's
okay.
him, Alpha
Thanks,
Trends. Thank you, Brian. Ay, man. I mean, what a disaster of a day. What a great segment. Thank you so much, Brian, for coming on. Brian Shannon, of course, of Anchored VWAP fame, literally. Thank you so much for coming on every single week. And now a good cause there, One Tree Planted. We'll find out more about that. I'll probably talk about that more on the show tomorrow as well. So thank you, Brian. Thank you to everybody who's joining us today. We can go over the sticky note. I'm quite frankly embarrassed. I mean, I don't have a problem talking about that. And it's not embarrassed about the trading. Well, it is a little bit. There's Jensen. What happened? I lost more money than most companies out there combined today. And it's not his fault. But there goes the downside. Look, man, look at this. Micron short, Intel short, AMD short, the Q long if it gets 69.50, but watch the break of 66. Tesla, the only one we liked long, watch out for a bottom of 212. So I'll give these ideas every single day. But what really got us going today was the fact that, like, for example, let me just go into a daily chart here, and then we'll flip back over to a minute. But the idea was here, like when we're saying AMD short, right? We wrote this down 150, but the problem is, and let's go over to a 3-minute chart. This is what I need to change. 3-minute chart, I said. Okay, that's daily. 3-minute chart, 5-minute chart. This is what I need to change. We had the right motivation. We knew which way it was going. But you see this? When this first candle happens, I'm thinking like, oh my God, we've missed the short. But we haven't. The party's just got started. But we don't have that crystal ball that can predict this kind of a move in the rest of the day, down 7+%. But what you have to do is play pullbacks, right? So when you go into like a 3-minute chart or something like that for AMD, there are opportunities where you pull back. And again, this is not real time 50 period, but I bet you it's a lot closer than this. So you did have opportunities, including right here at the end of the day, to pull this name back and get short, right? I mean, I think Nvidia had also opportunities. You know, this is the point. I like that. But look right here. It had an opportunity to play off the 50-period moving average. We talk about that as an indicator all of the time. We should have been a little bit more responsible with that. We didn't. We kept on trying to buy the dips. Fail, fail, fail. Part of being a good trader is to get the trades right, but also to be able to say, hey, look, straight up, bad trading there to try to catch some of these longs. Went short at the end, made a little bit back before eventually those imbalances came out and kind of flattened that trade. But we'll be back tomorrow where we'll look for some strength or weakness. Oh, man, I laugh because who knows which way it's going to go, but we can't go anywhere until roll call. The reason why I laugh about all this stuff, and it's never really that funny when you talk about losing money, but it's about following your own sort of guides and sticking with them, looking for longer term trends, looking for, hey, the market is going to the downside. Let's give ourselves some more room to breathe. Let's potentially lower our shares and give ourselves the right trade. Like, I don't need to short AMD at the bottom, but if it pops up, I need to get short. And I think that's something that we'll learn tomorrow. Watch out for Nvidia. I mean, if that hits that $100 mark, what you gonna do when $100 comes screaming for you? We'll find out tomorrow. Thank you. To a big shout out there for Bears versus Bulls, man. Great start to the week. Yeah, not P&L wise, but I think content wise, we definitely nailed it today. Thank you, Jason. Rich Naples as well says thanks, bro. DVD says thank you. TH as well. Racer Vaccine. Jesse's here. Andrew. Hey, look, man, there's over 2,700 of you staying late with us, so we thank you so much for that. Adrian, Sean might be exhausted, but we still got energy. Hey, man. We're tired. We're doing this for you guys, man. Man of the people media. I like that. I think I'm like a trader of the people, you know. We're trying to get that going. Just African, what's up, you? Raul's here. Blue Arrow's here. Guarev's here. He's always here. I see you, Guarev. Garwev. Whatever. Daniel, thank you so much for the fantastic recap. I like that. Thank you so much for that. Look, Neil is absolutely destroying the recap show as well. Glad to be splitting it up with him as we go, give you a little bit of a different look, give you that different energy. I think it's pretty similar. But Kyle Burdett is still listening. Thank you, Kyle. You've been here all day for that. Thank you to everybody that's been here all day. Robert Liu, Bitcoin trader, 1/23, so on and so forth. I actually had some sad news, and I didn't talk about it too much on the show today. Unfortunately, we had to put our cat down today, and it was really sad. And I had like a sort of a rough little lunchtime there with the wife and having to try to deal with our kids tonight. But that was really sad. So we'll say rest in peace, William, today. So that was something that obviously, if I keep talking about, I'll get burnt up. But at the end of the day, that shouldn't affect your trading, but maybe it did. I don't think it did. But I want to say rest in peace to William. That most handsome black cat you'll ever find. But okay, we are out of here. Thank you so much to everybody. Look, we're back tomorrow at 8:30. You're not going to get rid of me. I do have Friday off, as guess what? It's a hockey time again. Our first tournament starts there on Friday. Thank you, everybody, for watching, for listening, and for being a part of Trader TV Live. Thanks to Brian Shannon and Justin for coming through today at 2 p.m. as well, 2:45. Thank you to everybody. It's been a great one. I'll catch everybody on the flip side tomorrow. Ciao.